Live from the Emerald City in Seattle, Washington, the UFO, Bigfoot, and paranormal hotspot of the Pacific Northwest, coming directly to you listening in around the world. This, my friends, is Spaced Out Sunday. I am your host, Michael W. Hall, the paranormal lawyer, occupying the captain's chair tonight at SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show, including all of our listeners on the digital side at Revolution Radio. And don't forget, you can always find our archive shows for free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do us all a favor and hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to some Bumblefoot, shopping at our Spaced Out Radio store, and catching up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire, and so much more. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by donating to Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. And welcome to the show tonight, folks. This is October 11th, 2020 already. Oh my word. The fall season and the holidays are amongst us already. Tonight we are blessed to have, literally, the Reverend Bill McDonald with us as our main guest tonight. He's the spiritual warrior, by the way, so we are going to talk about all things paranormal and spiritual as well. But of course, we lead off our show every Sunday night with Peter Davenport, our buddy from the National UFO Reporting Center, who is going to jump on board again with us here and kind of give us the update of UFO and sighting reports from around the planet. So, welcome to both of you. First of all, Peter, are you there?
I'm here. How's the audio?
Oh, good. If you can get close to that microphone, it'll be a little bit better, but that's fine. Yeah, and Reverend Bill, are you there?
That's a questionable thing, whether I'm all here. I've been told I'm not always all there.
Well, you're here with us tonight. Thank God. Okay, wonderful. Well, listen, Peter, thank you for being available to us again tonight from the National UFO Reporting Center out there in the western wilds of eastern Washington. How have you been?
I've been well. Way overworked. I'm getting deluged with the reports of strange sightings, many of which I'll share tonight, but keeping quite busy.
I'll bet. I remember that article that just came out in, was it the Wall Street Journal just did an article on you?
Yeah, September 2nd.
Yeah, where you were actually mentioning in that, that was a mainstream article, like the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, coming out mentioning that your sighting reports are up by 50-some% during this lockdown period, I guess?
Well, for a few months they were quite high. People always focus on the number of reports we post, but I think it may not be all that significant a factoid, because most of those reports in March and April were due to sightings of the Starlink satellites. We left those reports in the data stream just to try to alert people to what was going on. But it's hard to know whether there's a really significant fluctuation in the number of significant reports. And Starlink satellites I wouldn't consider to be necessarily significant reports.
Yeah, there's definitely that confusion going on up there. People have to educate themselves on what's really going on in the night sky.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Well, we're Bill and I are ready to hear about what you've got for us if you want to jump right in.
Well, I have a few interesting reports, and if I run out of material, we'll go to some past sighting reports that I find particularly interesting and have been left unsung, really, by the news media. But the first couple of reports were reports that I had actually prepared for our last program on the 4th of October and didn't have time to squeeze them in. The first one comes from Center Conway, New Hampshire, up very close to the White Mountains, central New Hampshire, more or less. And a gentleman writes that on the 2nd of October at 8:20 p.m., he was standing outside surveying the night sky when his attention was attracted to a stationary bright light in the northern sky about 50 degrees from the horizon. And what he found so strange was that every 3 seconds the light would blink and it would reappear as it moved to the north away from him. But he apparently is a very good observer, and he noted that between every blink, the distance between the last blink and the current blink had increased. So the object was accelerating as it blinked. And he counted 8 such blinks. And the object finally just streaked off to the north. What it was, we'll never know, of course, but it's not a conventional satellite for sure, and not an aircraft. So, what was it? Have no idea, but it's an excellent report. I haven't done it justice, really. He wrote a very nice, very eloquent report.
Well, obviously it was something that caught his attention, that basically was blinking and traveling and then zoomed off. Most people would be able to tell if it was a blinking light on a commercial aircraft, it sounds like.
Yeah. And it doesn't sound like a standard strobe light on an airliner. And it's just a very interesting case. I thought I'd enjoy sharing that with our audience.
Okay. From Center Conway, New Hampshire. Interesting.
Center Conway.
Yeah.
I've actually been in that town. I used to live in that neck of the woods when I was a boy.
That's right.
The next report occurred 6 hours after the Conway sighting, and it comes from Austin, Texas. This is an interesting one too, Michael. A gentleman writes that he and his daughter, 10-year-old daughter, had just returned from getting groceries, and he, as in the case of the first case I just cited, his attention was drawn to a white ball of light that appeared to him to be back behind his house. He estimated only 600 feet off the ground, although that can be nothing more than an estimate. Very difficult, borderline impossible to tell how far away a light is from you at night. But the light just sat there for 20 or 30 seconds, and it suddenly then accelerated and just streaked across the sky and disappeared from his sight. What makes this case so interesting is the velocity he describes of the light and the acceleration. It really took off, he says, but the thing that he finds interesting is after he had seen it, he was not aware that his daughter might have seen it as well. But after it disappeared, she said, "Daddy, that was not a shooting star. What was it?" And to confirm this fact, he viewed the home camera security system that he had installed in his house, and he points out that it didn't capture the actual object, but it caught both him and his daughter suddenly looking up at the same instant in the same general direction. So it's confirmation that both of them had seen something and it had attracted their attention. It's a very interesting case.
And that was, you said, just a few hours after the other sighting in New Hampshire? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, 6 hours, 5 hours after the sighting in New Hampshire.
Wow.
So somewhat similar sighting. And I've forgotten whether I mentioned the location, Austin, Texas.
Right. Yeah, you did.
22:59 hours. The father was astute enough to measure the time quite accurately, or get an accurate time. And the interesting thing is that the sighting in Austin lasted 25 to 30 seconds, the sighting in Central Conway lasted about 30 seconds, according to the witness. 24 to 30 seconds. So
Yeah. Yeah, Bill, these things are just real puzzling to me. I hear Peter come on night after night, I mean, week after week on Sunday nights, giving these reports that are obviously low level, some of them, like 600 feet, this last one here, zooming around people's neighborhoods indiscriminately. Isn't it weird that these things are happening on a daily and nightly basis? Where back in the old days, you might hear about these once every month or so, but this is happening all the time around the country.
Well, I'm living in an area here in California where this is a hotbed for sightings right here in the Sacramento Valley, especially Elk Grove. In fact, I think their son is actually posted on YouTube. But I had this very conversation with President Jimmy Carter a few years ago, which is another whole conversation. But yeah,
wow,
it's out there.
And you just recently had your own sighting, I understand.
Yeah, right in the Sacramento area, on over Highway 80, as it turns what they call the Marconi curve, and I'm on a freeway bumper to bumper going 55 miles an hour. It's sun is starting to set, but in the sky is this dark cloud. This is a weird one, so maybe somebody can help me on this. But there's a dark cloud. There's not another cloud in the sky. But this cloud is moving very fast, and I'm in the fast lane, and I'm looking at it as best I can because I got bumper traffic at 55. Not too smart, right? But I'm looking at it, and inside of this cloud is a elongated object, like shaped like a cigar, but fat in the middle and narrow at both ends.
Yeah.
Never seen anything quite like that before. But the cloud is surrounding it like it's a camouflage almost, and it's moving across the sky. And of course, I want to tell the people in traffic. I want to honk my horn and point, but I start pointing and shouting and look, and everybody's getting mad at me because I'm almost bumpering, hitting somebody's bumper. But that was in December. That's 10 months ago. So it's hot out there. It's happening.
Wow, that's fascinating, Peter.
Yeah, I'd love to have that report, Bill. We have an online report form at ufocenter.com, and we invite people who've had sightings like yours to write it down and submit it as a formal written statement, and we will then post it and let the world know about it. One of the points I put down is...
Yeah, I didn't even know there was a place to report, so I just, now I know.
Yeah. One of the points I try to make to people is I believe that all of ufology is capturing only out of somewhere between 10,000 and 20,000 sightings like yours, like the likes of which you just described for us. I estimate that we're capturing only one out of that 10,000 to 20,000 sightings, simply because people don't recognize the value, the importance of reporting it in written form. They might talk about it with the bartender or with the Uber driver or their loved ones, but that doesn't count. It has to be recorded in written form for it to be able to be shared with the public so people can know about it. One of the things I see on the hotline is frequently people want to talk and talk and talk about their sightings, but that really doesn't solve the problem. We've got to capture it in written form. So
I tell you what, every time I do a show, I'll get emails from people. I think the number they're missing is much bigger than you even suggest.
Yeah,
I've had United Airline pilots, captain, senior captain, called me up and had a conversation because he was afraid to say anything because of his career. He didn't want a mental evaluation. But his whole crew saw something and they were followed and pursued, and he decided not to report it. Same thing with a military friend of mine, Lieutenant Colonel, Marines, and he was a fighter pilot in North Vietnam, flying off an aircraft carrier. And him and his wingman actually chased one in pursuit, and it took him all the way into the Cambodian, skies over Cambodia. And when he called into his aircraft carrier to tell him about this unidentified thing, they told him, "You have a bogey. You have a bogey. Are you really want to report an unidentified flying object? Put down you chased a bogey." Okay. So they advised him of his career and suggested how he should go about it. So it's not something that pilots in particular want to report because they'll get psychological evaluations, especially military pilots.
Yeah. I've taken a lot of reports like that. In fact, I have quite a few posted to the website, both on our homepage and in the database of sighting reports. I have about 160,000 reports, most of which are posted to our website. But one of the interesting airline captain reports I took occurred, I think, November 17th, 1995, if I'm not mistaken. And I got the first call came from the FAA Boston Center, that actually is located in New Hampshire, Nashua, New Hampshire, I believe. And the air traffic controller with whom I spoke apprised me that he had just received reports during the preceding several minutes from 36 airliners of a green object that had passed them going the opposite direction. It was a very interesting night. But I have, on the subject of green fireballs, that's the principal subject of my report tonight, Michael. Something very unusual happened last night over the East Coast, or over the eastern tier of the United States. The first report I received is from a woman who describes herself as an amateur sky watcher. She was standing outside with another friend who is also an amateur sky watcher. They view the night skies regularly together. And at 8:35 p.m., they saw a light green fireball-like object traveling from west to east, apparently descending. I think they saw it in the southern sky. And it was horizontally, it was longer than it was vertical. And it was embedded in a cloud of light green light. She said it was like looking at the moon through a light haze. And the object streaked across the sky. The one thing you always have to consider in a case like this is whether it might have been a meteor. We had a meteor shower over the weekend, but she insists that it had very sharp edges, it did not have a tail, and it was apparently maneuvering slightly. And she says that she estimates that it was in her sight for 20 seconds. 20 seconds is a very long time for a meteor.
Yeah.
So,
oh, that's fascinating, and that's on the East Coast last night. Holy mackerel.
Yep. And green is not an impossible color for meteors, but traditionally, most of them incandesce in the blue range. They're so hot, they give off blue or white light. And as they slow down and cool down quite rapidly, the frequency of the light changes to red. But green is very unusual. I've had many reports, though, about green events, green objects like this streaking across the night sky. The next report is probably of the same object, but it is about 30 minutes later. This person estimates the time was 2100 hours or 9 p.m. She's reporting from Hatboro, Pennsylvania, in Montgomery County. She too saw a bright green light, and she emphasizes that it was distinctly round. It was not a cloud of light the way you would expect for a meteor. Distinctly round, and her distinct impression was it was a actual spherical shape. not just a point of light. And she saw it at 9 p.m., as I mentioned, same night. And she, too, is a longtime sky watcher. She says she writes in her report that she's quite familiar with meteors, fireballs, space station flying over, aircraft, Chinese lanterns, weather satellites, and she cites a number of other objects. She's a teacher and a college graduate and an outdoors person, but she was really flummoxed by this. She goes on to point out that she checked the American Meteor Society website, and there were 68 people who reported it to the American Meteor Society. Of course, they label it as a meteor, but it just goes to show that it had been seen by a number of people.
Yeah, and that was in Pennsylvania. So it's still back east. There must have been some strange things going on last night.
Well, they may have seen the same thing, although the next case I'd like to share with our audience comes from Jasper, Georgia, and it also occurred last night, but the time is noteworthy. It occurred at 11:09 p.m., so a good 2 hours after people had reported this green object. But a gentleman writes that he was watching TV with his kids in their living room, and they have a big wall that consists of multiple windows. Suddenly, the sky lit up like a turquoise blue, and the interesting thing, Michael, is the sky remained turquoise colored for a good 2 minutes, he estimates. And then suddenly, the turquoise light snapped off and ceased. About a minute later, the entire neighborhood that he lives in lost power for 4 minutes. So there's a possibility that it was a transformer that failed, but a 2-minute failure for a transformer is unusually long. Usually they just blow up in one big bang. And about a minute after the power came on, about 4 minutes later, and I'm trying to read his report as I speak. His kids were looking at it, and they were freaked by it, he says. They were a little bit scared. It was so bizarre in appearance. And last report comes from the 30th, make that the 29th of September. This one's from Palmdale, and I mention it because it involves green lights. A woman writes that she and her husband were driving south on Route 14, just north of Edwards Air Force Base in Palmdale, California. And she and her husband saw 2, then 3 sets of green lights moving very fast. They moved from east to west across the highway in front of them. And they estimated that the green lights were within 20 or 30 feet of the pavement as they passed in front of their car. So it was a very close-up observation. And they were completely shocked by it. And finally, the clinching point here is that after it passed in front of them, all the lights seemed to stop in formation, and then suddenly accelerated at a blistering pace and streaked off into the western sky.
Oh my word. Can you imagine that, Reverend Bill, out there in Palmdale? And those folks are driving along the freeway. And this was at night, right, Peter?
Yeah, at night.
Oh, man.
11 o'clock at night, 11:09 p.m.
Holy mackerel. Oh, Peter, I think you've outdone yourself tonight with these green fireballs and various lights that have been showing up literally all across the East Coast and down to the South here. I know we got to take our break at the bottom of the hour here, but let's make sure that people will know what that hotline phone number is so they can call in for their reports. And also that address, if they wanted to, send you a small stipend check or anything to help you out with all the decades of hard work you've been doing, we want to make sure that you get the mailing address as well. So go ahead.
Good. Well, the hotline number has been the same for 46 years this month, and it is area code 206 for Seattle, 722-3000, 206-722-3000. And we welcome calls from anybody who believes he's seen a UFO within the last approximately 7 days or so. And it operates 24 hours a day in the sense that it can ring at any time, but we usually operate it from about 8 a.m. to midnight is when it's staffed, if I'm at the center. So if I'm not there, they can always leave a message, and we try to get back to them within an hour or two.
Oh, and you sure do. That's for sure. So, and they can also go to the website to make a report themselves online, right?
Yeah, we invariably ask people to follow up a telephone call with a written report, and they can submit a written report using our online report form at ufocenter.com, ufocenter.com.
Yep.
And we don't encourage people to submit reports via the U.S. Postal System because there's nobody here who has the time who wants to retype them. But if they absolutely must submit a typewritten report, they can send it to our U.S. Postal address, which is the National UFO Reporting Center, or NUFORC, P.O. Box 700, Davenport, Washington, DAVENPORT, Washington, and the zip code is 99122.
Perfect. Peter, thank you so much again for all that hard work that you've been doing for literally decades, breaking all of these fast-breaking UFO reports out there in the mainstream media. But I hope people will do that. Send you a small check of their gratitude as well from time to time at that P.O. Box 700, Davenport, Washington. Easy to remember, like Peter Davenport. And the zip code again in Washington is
99122.
99122. Okay. Thank you again, Peter. Thank you. Have a great week. We will talk to you next week with more sighting reports, I'm sure.
And thank you very much for the airtime, Michael. It's always fun to work with you.
Oh, my pleasure. Okay, we're going to take a break here, and then we're going to come back, folks, with more of the spiritual warrior here, the Reverend Bill McDonald. So hold on to your hats, and we're going to be right back on Spaced Out Sunday.
Hey, Spaced Out Radio fans! It's John Resnick, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. Our goal is to make the life of veterans, first responders, and those with rare medical conditions 10% happier. We do this by donating one grant item, ranging from dance to therapy programs to prosthetic limbs, to those who need it most. To contribute to Spaced Out Radio's official charity, head over to chivecharities.org and become a donor today.
I'm feeling a little spicy tonight. What to do? What to do?
Why not get Bumblefuck?
4 million Scoville units of pure hard rock. Bumblefoot hot sauces come in 3 flavors. The burning Bumble. Tone it down a bit with Bumblicious and throw the sauce on everything.
Spice it up. Bumble me, baby. Bumblefoot hot sauce. Get it today at kajans.com.
At spacedoutradio.com, we are keeping you up to date on all the news with the SOR Newswire. Captain Shirk leads the team that is bringing you the news of the day and exclusive stories on everything paranormal and supernatural. It's free to read, it's updated daily, and it's right there for you. The SOR Newswire is a one-stop shop for the news of the day. Check it out at spacedoutradio.com today.
Are you looking for great advertising value for your company? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. We have a multitude of places to get your name out there, including commercial ads during the show, special promotions, and banners on our website. Our audience is proven to support the companies that support our show. We can make your budget work for you. So for more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
Hey everybody, the SOR Space Travelers is open. For just $5 a month, you can hang out with Dave and our crew privately in our members-only section. With your signing, you'll receive newsletters on what's going on with Spaced Out Radio. You'll have direct contact with the host during the show in our chat, live streaming videos, and a great forum for your posts and more. Become a space traveler now at spacedoutradio.com.
Are you addicted to the woo? Good. Me too. This is Dave Scott, and you can woo it up with me every Monday through Friday, starting at 9:06 Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, for 3 hours of great entertainment in the subjects you love. UFOs, ghosts, cryptids, intuition. Yes, we hit it all 5 days a week. Look for us at spacedoutradio.com, where together, my friends, we own the night.
You wanted new SOR gear, and now you can have it. The SOR Vault is fully stocked with t-shirts, hats, hoodies, mugs, and everything in between, with great logos for you to choose from. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com, click on the SOR Vault, and go shopping. Pricing is quite affordable, and you can look good representing your favorite show. So go to our website and pick up your new SOR wear at the SOR Vault today.
Need that weekend supernatural fix? Look no further than Spaced Out Saturday right here at spacedoutradio.com. I'm Stacey Edwards.
And I'm John Edwards. Each Saturday night, Stacey and I are going to bring you the best in paranormal, cryptids, UFOs, you name it, and we're going there.
It's all about the experience and to share the knowledge with all of you.
So tune us in every Saturday night on Spaced Out Saturdays, starting at 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com.
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio, and while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
Cold drinks, great food, and the best music in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is the place to be, open until 2 a.m. nightly. Everything on the menu starts at just $6.95. Who serves food that cheap anymore? At the Moose, you'll never know who you'll run into. Rock stars, actors, athletes. It's the place everyone wants to be. So join us at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Hello everyone, this is Ryan Stacy from the Experiencer Support Association, otherwise known as TESSA. We're glad to team up with Spaced Out Radio to help investigate your experiences on the SOR Sightlines Report. Together, we'll investigate the strange sightings and occurrences you've had. We're looking for answers just like you. So fill out a Sightlines report on the Spaced Out Radio website and let's figure out what's going on together.
Welcome back to Spaced Out Sunday, everyone. Vietnam veteran, the Reverend Bill McDonald, is a near-death experiencer, a minister and a chaplain, yoga meditation teacher and a PTSD consultant, and an award-winning poet. As a decorated veteran, Reverend Bill has been awarded the Distinguished Flying Cross, the Bronze Star, a Purple Heart, 14 air medals, and the Vietnamese Cross of Gallantry. He has founded the Spiritual Warrior Ministries, which provides free chaplain services for military communities across the U.S. And I'll tell you what, I am just honored and blessed to have Reverend Bill back on the show here tonight with us on Spaced Out Sunday. Thank you for joining me.
Well, thanks for the invitation. And you mentioned the Spiritual Warrior Ministries, just so I don't forget my veteran community out there. I had been, until this virus, been going out and giving free workshops and lectures and all. For the veteran community, I don't charge, but I also do ministry to prisoners, like at Folsom Prison, and homeless guys. Right now, I'm doing everything virtual now.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, I haven't been out now. So since March, I've been virtually. Well, I'm a prisoner. That's not virtually. I'm basically in the house. So
yeah.
Hopefully next year I'll get back out there again.
Well, and you know, it's an opportunity. Even though we're kind of hamstrung with what we can do now, as far as getting out there, boots on the ground, like you've been doing for decades. But it's an opportunity for us to use technology to kind of, spread the word of what we do. And that's what my goal is tonight, to spread your word out there, to get more people involved in what you do.
Well, what's interesting is because if you go on YouTube, look Reverend Bill McDonald on YouTube, you'll find I've got over 100 and some videos that I've done, and then I got access to another 100 or 200 or 300 interviews I've done out there that you can find on YouTube. But veterans watch the ones that are related to the veteran community. Then they start exploring the other stuff. And you can't believe the level of supernatural paranormal experiences that these people are willing to report to me. They're not sharing it with their own families. There's this whole thing about nobody wants to be disbelieved, thought to be crazy, delusional. Especially some of my PTSD vets, they got enough problems with that already, right? So they start talking about all these other things. But I've had some really unique experiences talking to these people. And there was a guy in Sacramento I was talking to, and a friend of mine, and college-educated state worker. And he was in the Vietnam War, about the same year I was. And he was telling me about, speaking of UFO sightings, he was telling about he was with a company of his guys, there's about 300 of them. And at night, the 9th Infantry, I believe it was, at night, what they would do, they were staying out for 30 days. They would make a circle when they went to sleep at night. They made a circle, everybody facing outward, but every other guy would be awake. Only 50% would sleep at a time. Hopefully. I think a lot more guys slept, but there's supposed to be every other guy. And so he was sleeping, and it was, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, and he said it got so deathly quiet that he heard the ants walking in the sand next to his ear. So that's how, it was like he could hear these, and he wakes up, and he looks around, and he sees, 30-40% of these guys in the circle, they're all looking up at the sky, just dazed looking, like something happened. So he asked the guy next to him, he goes, what's going on? He goes, well, we had a strange event happen, some kind of aircraft, something unknown. This round-shaped aircraft hovered just about 100 feet above them, making a swooshing sound, just a whoosh, not very loud. So they couldn't hear any, they're used to helicopters. They thought it was a helicopter coming in because it was lights on it and it was lighting things up. So they thought it was a helicopter. Then it just hovered over them. They still thought it was a helicopter, but it wasn't moving, and it was covering all of them were covered by it. It was covering the whole area, and they could see like windows in there with light coming out. and it was there for several minutes, and then it just darted away. So it wasn't a helicopter. If it was a helicopter, there would have been that womp, 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 womp. I mean, there would have been a noticeable sound. And veterans, especially Vietnam vets, they know the sound of a Huey or a Chinook, right? They know that sound, and it wasn't. So he told me that story, and I go, wow. And then I add that to the one from the guy that told me about chasing the bogies, to Cambodia. That's one of many stories, and I'm thinking that there are so many more out there that we're just scratching the surface off, just in the Vietnam War.
Yeah. Wow. You know, that reminds me of, Bill, that reminds me in the last episode that I saw of Unidentified on the History Channel, there was a story of these two military guys who had missing time out in the field. That sounds a very similar story to the Unidentified television series. Do you have any idea whether there was a missing time element in that story that your veteran told you?
From personal experience, I have a couple, 2 or 3 missing time experiences. What's odd was I had an experience which I believe was an alien abduction. That's people already going to hang up on your show and say, what's Reverend Bill talking about?
Oh, no.
Are you aliens, right? And I was 5 years old. People go, yeah, he's a young kid. He must have eaten wrong food or something. But the deal with this is, it happened to my older sister, younger sister, and me. And the night it happened, and I'll tell you the story on that, but the night it happened, the next morning, we all looked at each other, and we never had a conversation about it. 50-some years later, I was writing about it for my first book, and I asked my sisters about it, and they didn't really want to talk about it. They said, yes, that's true, yes, that happened, but they still didn't want to talk about it. So here's something that you could say Reverend Bill was crazy, but he has 2 people that swear that they had the same experience. So it's like,
oh,
but here's the missing time. All right. So what happens? We were living in Oregon, Coos Bay, North Bend area.
Yep.
And we were put to bed. I'm in bed. My brother has a bed right next to mine. And here's what's weird. First, I see these beams, for lack of a better word, kind of the owl-shaped eyes, short, and they had like a jumpsuit on, kind of like a uniform. I at 5 years old, I didn't know how to describe it, but that's kind of the way I remember it. It was just like a uniform, like a jumpsuit. It was like 5 of them came in. They just appeared like they came through the walls. And so I started screaming and everything as loud as I can, and I wake everybody up. My stepfather comes in, turns the light on. Of course, as soon as I wake everybody up, nobody sees anything but me, right? They're gone. So I'm thinking, oh, okay, that's weird. So then my dad turns the light off, and then they're back. And so I start screaming and yelling again, and my brother is out cold. I mean, I'm screaming so loud he should have woke up and said, what's going on, right? My stepdad, who came in the last time, never appeared. Didn't wake up mother, didn't wake up anybody. I mean, we were in a triplex, and we didn't wake anybody up. Nobody complained about any noise. I'm making a loud sound. And I'm watching these things come toward me, these people, and they're approaching me, and they're touching me with some kind of instrument. And it's about that time I got up enough courage. I jumped out of my bed and I ran into my sister's room, which was right next to that room. And I went inside, and my 2 sisters, they were awake because they heard my screaming. They were awake, and they were looking at me. And then I realized they were looking behind me. And when I ran in, several of these aliens, for lack of a better word, followed me into the room. And there we are, and they're screaming, and I'm yelling, and nobody is coming. Nobody in the house. I don't know if this is a common occurrence that other people around are all dead asleep and nobody hears nothing.
Yes.
Even if I was crazy, somebody should have heard something, right?
Yeah.
So we're screaming, and then the next memory, I mean, that's like at 9 o'clock at night. The next memory is sunrise, about 7 in the morning, and we're in the front room, hiding behind the couch, and I got a wooden coat hanger. That's my weapon. I got to protect myself. I don't know what that was going to do. I got 5 years old, right? And we're looking over the couch, and then right in front of the windows and the drapes, there's 3 of them standing there. And a couple of them are looking at me kind of like with the best way I can describe it as an adult looking back, it was paternal. It was like parental. It was like, we're here for you type thing. It was really odd. I wasn't screaming or yelling at that point. I was kind of gave up the fight. I wasn't afraid anymore. When I'm watching them, they didn't do this, Star Trek, hand sign, but they did kind of raise their hand up, kind of like a gesture of like, be calm, don't worry, we're here for you. But they didn't say anything. But that's what I was getting, like an unspoken language. I'm getting communicated. Don't worry about it. We're here for you. We've been here for you. We're going to be here for you. And the day started. Nobody asked me about anything. Stepdad didn't ask me why I was yelling earlier. Nobody asked nothing. My sisters wouldn't talk to me. Can you imagine? That was like 1950. And it wasn't until 2000, 2001, 2000, someplace around there, that I asked my sisters about that. Can you believe that's 50 years, right?
Oh, that is typical of the stories of people who have had multiple abduction experiences or had experiences with family members, in the fact that they literally don't talk about it afterwards. It's the weirdest thing. Now, by the way, you said you woke up, the next thing you realized you were in the front room, by the couch or something in the morning. So obviously you've got missing time there. Were your sisters with you at the couch, or were you alone?
No, it was just like it felt like we just kind of popped there. Just boom, here we are, right? Kind of like we turned. Now, subsequent to that, and actually prior to that, there was an event in San Francisco before we moved to that house. We were being visited nightly. My mother thought it might be a ghost. My stepdad was going crazy. He'd come back from World War II and he had a gun, and he saw these, whatever they were. He thought they were burglars or something, but one went through a window. So, were they ghosts? Were they something else? But they came in every night. You'd hear them in the hallway, and they'd stop in front of my sister's door or my door, bedroom doors, and then next thing I know, it's the next day, right? And what's interesting is my mother would talk about it. She says, "Oh, that's just our nightly visitors," like it was something that she was totally accepting of. It was like, that's a strange thing for a parent. As a parent, I'd be kind of concerned that there's some supernatural paranormal event happening at night and my children are out there, right? But she was very relaxed with it. So
was this something that your mother was talked to you about as well? Do you suspect, for instance, maybe it's your mother who, sometimes they'll say this thing follows family lines as far as that goes. Do you think it came from your mother to you?
Yeah, I think so. And what was weird, really weird, well, it's all weird. Everything's weird, right? But, and she was very psychic, and she was a fortune teller, read cards and all that stuff. She was really accurate.
Wow.
Very perceptive. And, but after that abduction event, and I'm assuming that with no memory in between that there was an abduction, because they're there at 9 o'clock at night, last memory, and then 7 o'clock in the morning. It's over half a day, right?
Yeah.
So, every night after that, I'd be in bed, I'd be asleep, and then it was like an out-of-body experience. You light, you felt like you're leaving. Wouldn't remember nothing, but in the morning, just before the sun come up, I'd be like, boom, back in my bed, just boom, like I fell into my body or fell onto the mattress. And it was a reoccurring event. It was like, wow. And then one couple of mornings, it was still kind of semi-dark, sun's coming up. And I know somebody is holding my hand. Someone is touching my body. And I open my eyes, and I have no memory of seeing anybody. And I say that because I don't know if I saw somebody at the time or not, but I don't remember. But I remember holding my hands many times. And I would, every morning, almost clockwork, 4, 5, 6 times a week, I'd have a bloody nose.
Wow.
I had before, but after that event, I had bloody noses.
Yeah.
A lot. Now, I was always psychic at various levels, but it seemed like that got a little extra boost as well, even though I was that way before. It was more intensified. And then I had reoccurring dreams. I'd wake up and I would not remember, what happened or anything else, but I'd have these, I thought they were dreams, right? So I'm remembering dreams, and I always separated, well, this is a dream I had, but I kept dreaming of this metallic inside of a building or aircraft or science lab or medical unit or something, metal, right? With tables, like examination tables. And I'm on one of them. And my sisters are on the other two. And it was like a reoccurring dream. And then, but my sisters are all upset and they got to be sedated. Just a dream, understand? Just a dream. They're kind of like being sedated. And they're doing a lot of stuff to them. But me, I'm being shown around. And in the dreams, repetitive dreams, I'm meeting brothers and sisters with almond eyes. It's like there's a feeling that they're related somehow to me. And so at 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 having these dreams, you have to classify it as dream because otherwise you got to go, well, what's really going on here? What's the alternative, right?
Yeah.
So I haven't analyzed that until I got to this age. Now I can look back and I'm going, really, what was it? Why would I have that same kind of reoccurring dream over and over again?
Did you take an opportunity at that young age to share those kinds of dreams with your mother, given the fact that she might have been able to relate to those at all? Did she mention anything about your dreams to you?
We talked about yoga, we talked about ghosts, we talked about demons, we talked about a lot of stuff, but UFOs, no, we don't, nothing. We talked about angels. We had a lot of interesting supernatural, mystical stuff happen in the family, and my mother was one of several generations of psychics, going back to Italy. I mean, her mother was very psychic. Her grandmother's mother. I mean, it goes all the way back.
Wow.
It's generational.
Yeah.
So it's almost like a spiritual, paranormal DNA.
Yeah.
And I really do believe that, just like Michael Jordan, his son's probably athletic, right? And somebody else is, a famous musician. Their kids can sing and dance and play musical instruments. I think it's a talent that's on the DNA, just like all those other talents, right? But it's a unique talent. It's totally different. It's a different vibration level. It's a different thing altogether. So yeah, growing up, I had many, many things happen, including a near-death experience at 8 years old, where I saw the next 50 years in advance, including the Kennedy assassination and everything, which got to the conversation that you and I had before we went on this, on the air. In 1963, and you're old enough to remember 1963.
Yeah.
November, and the week before November 22nd, I've been having these reoccurring, real-life dreams. Call them a vision. But what was different about these were, instead of being in color, they were all in black and white. It's like I was watching a black and white television. And I saw the President of the United States, John F. Kennedy, in a motorcade, driving through the streets of Dallas. I knew it was Dallas, but how do I know it was Dallas? Because I've never been there. I don't know. But I knew it was Dallas, right? And I kept seeing it. I had the same dream every night. And I'd see the assassination, and I would see the funeral, and I'd see the little kid, John Jr., giving the salute. I'd see the wagons, pulling the casket, eternal flame, the speed. I mean, I saw the whole thing. So when it came on television, it was like repetitive. But anyway, being a young senior in high school and always speaking my mind and filtering nothing, I tell the school principal and I tell a few of my friends, I go, hey, the president's going to be killed next week in Dallas. He's going to be assassinated. He's going to get shot in the head. Well, that goes over like a lead balloon, right? Now, had I said that with social media now, had I said that, let's say it was Trump, if I had a dream, if some high school kid said President Trump was going to be I would have had the Secret Service in my house, right? They've been looking at me, right? What's going on here?
Yeah.
Nobody said nothing. I got patted on the head by the principal. Yeah, we'll go back to class. Don't worry about it. It ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
But then, as you know, spoiler alert to those young people out there, the president was killed, right? Now, here's the part of it that's different, where we were discussing earlier before we went on the air. The Warren report came out, and they said there was one lone gunman, and he fired and did all that damage by himself. Oswald, right? Harvey Lee Oswald. So me and the government differ, because this is why I think, well, maybe my dream was wrong, my visions were wrong. Because in my vision, you had a guy in the motorcade behind him, like an agent of some kind, with some kind of weapon, rifle or something. And when the first shot goes off, like Oswald shooting out a window, but I see this guy falling and accidentally firing and hitting the president in the back of the head.
Yeah.
And
oh, my word.
To this day, because I kept doubting myself. I'm going, the government wouldn't conspire. They wouldn't hide that fact. But think about all the roadblocks they put up until this very day. Originally, it was 25 years. They were going to hide all the records. Then it was 15.
Yeah.
75 years that nobody's going to hear nothing about that assassination, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, listen, we're going to get into more details of that when we come back after a break. We got to take a hard break right now, Bill. So we will. That is fascinating, and there is some follow-up there I got to ask you when we come right back. So hang on, folks. We're going to be right back with more Spaced Out Sunday in just a moment, if you hang on with us here.
Looking for creative ways to get your company out in the public? How about advertising on Spaced Out Radio? Our sales department is waiting to hear from you, and we can work around any budget. From commercial spots to banners to special promotions, there are many opportunities to get your name and product out to our SOR listeners. For a price guide and more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
If you like it hot, real hot, then heat up your meals with Bumblefoot hot sauce.
Get your Bumblefoot hot sauce today. The sauce, Bumblicious, and the 4 million Scoville unit Bumble. We're going in hot, real hot, coming out even hotter.
Keep the milk nearby and tantalize your taste buds tonight.
Bumblefoot hot sauce, available now at kajans.com.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR, where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother Is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com, where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com, and remember, Little Brother Is Watching.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
The SOR Vault is open for business, and do we have some cool swag for you to pick up? All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the store you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
Hey everyone, I'm John Edwards.
And I'm Stacey Edwards. Together we're taking over Saturday nights on Spaced Out Radio, where we're going to bring our own experiences of the paranormal and talk to the best people we can find to help bring you answers to your strange tales.
We're here to entertain your need for weekend woo! So tune us in at spacedoutradio.com starting at 9:06 Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, where we can all get a little spooky together.
Spaced Out Saturday nights right here at spacedoutradio.com.
We are scouring the world for the most intriguing stories of your day. Take the time to read up on the SOR Newswire, where our team, led by Captain Shirk, will deliver to you some of the best paranormal and supernatural news, along with some stories that will blow your mind from the weird to the wacky. It's the news outside the news that piques interest, and that's what we're looking to deliver to you. The SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at mightymoosebeard.com today.
Hi, this is Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, where we store all of the SOR show archives for free. And as an added bonus, every 2 weeks I'm posting brand new content on Cryptid Tales, where I will get into some of the spookier legends and folklore from around the world and tell the stories that go with them. Find us at youtube.com/spacedoutradio and check out Cryptid Tales today. Drop a comment and let me know what you want to hear. See you there.
Are you an experiencer of something strange that can't be explained? Do you want help finding out what's going on? I'm Ryan Stacy, head of the Experiencer Support Association, otherwise known as TESSA. We've teamed up with Spaced Out Radio to investigate cases filled out in the SOR Sightlines report. We are independent and there's no cost to what we do. All we need is your experience. Let's find out what's happening together on the SOR Sightlines report.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you'd know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
For the price of 1 cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
Hi there, this is Dave Scott, and I'm bringing you the Woo every Monday through Friday on Spaced Out Radio. I'm going all out to bring you the strangest, oddest stories and subjects I could find for your entertainment. Why? Because when we hit peak Woo, I know I've done my job. So come tune us in at spacedoutradio.com, 9:06 Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, and together, my friends, we own the night.
Welcome back to hour number 2 of Spaced Out Sunday. I'm your host, the paranormal lawyer, Michael W. Hall. Thanks for joining me. We were welcoming everyone back on our terrestrial affiliates, WQEE 99.1 FM in Newton, Georgia, and UPRN 107.7 in New Orleans. And on the digital side, we are proud to be on Revolution Radio. And don't forget, you can always check out our archives for free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do us a favor, will you, and hit that subscribe button. Our website, of course, is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to some Bumblefoot, shopping at our Spaced Out Radio store, and catching up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire, and so much more. We were talking with the Reverend Bill McDonald about the Kennedy assassination and a premonition that he had as a young high school student before the break. And, you know, Bill, I consider myself one of those assassination amateur aficionados myself, but I'm sure you've heard now by all these decades later that there was a theory that that shot, the kill shot, actually came from friendly fire from one of the Secret Service members. I'm assuming you probably heard that.
That verifies basically what I saw. The Warren Commission and I weren't eye to eye at all.
Of course.
I understand, and what, I can almost forgive the government for that. The public would have had a hard time with him getting shot by his own Secret Service. That would have been kind of bad. So that's the only explanation that explains all the cover-up. I mean, who they trying to protect, right? But in the process of doing that, people started thinking that LBJ had something to do with it, the mafia. I mean, they came up with all these ideas, and but I don't know who hired. Honestly, I don't know who hired Oswald. Oswald did try to kill him, and he did fire some shots. But the fatal one, in my vision of it, the fatal shot, the brain shot, that came from the back, just behind him, from a vehicle.
Interesting. Well, there's some definite controversy there about when and where that kill shot happened. You know, whether it came from the grassy knoll or even from that storm drain, you know, off of the boulevard there as well. Anyway, but that is fascinating. And I would imagine that you literally, that probably has bugged you your entire life ever since you had a premonition like that as a kid.
Well, unfortunately or unfortunately, that's not an unusual thing for me. This stuff happens regularly, and it happened regularly, like in Vietnam, in real life. I mean, I know when airplanes are going to crash. I know when things are going to happen. I know disasters are coming. So it's taken an adjustment on my part, knowing when to keep my mouth shut and when to help. Because just knowing something, sometimes there's things you shouldn't say, and you certainly don't want to interfere with other people's karma and their destinies and their free will.
Well, exactly. And in your situation as a military chaplain, I would imagine you have a lot of people come to you over your service time with issues that you might have known what was going to happen and you couldn't tell them anything.
Yeah, well, first off, I was a crew chief door gunner on a Huey when I was in the military. I became a chaplain minister about 30 years ago because I was helping all these guys, and in order to get into the prisons in California and everything, I had to get some certification and stuff. So I went that route. But no, people open up to me, and that's why I learned all these other stories. There's some, for example, I had an officer, a retired lieutenant colonel, a lot of these high-ranking guys. He was on a patrol. There was him and a buddy, and there's 2 or 3 of them. They're on a night patrol. They went out, and the mistake they made was they went out on a full moon night. You know, it's practically lit up out there, right?
Yeah.
And they realize that when they get out in the open and they can see each other and they can see the tree line, they go, oh, if we can see all that, somebody can see us, right? So all of a sudden he looks and he sees a column of Viet Cong, VC, walking, and they're casually walking. He sees their lit cigarettes in their mouth, and he hears their conversation. They're walking right at him. So he freezes. Him and his buddy freeze, and he squats down. But he sees them totally, and he knows they got to see him, right? And they walk within inches, maybe a half a foot of bumping into him, and about 12 guys pass him. So that was odd. He thought that was kind of odd. Gets a letter from his mother days later, whatever amount of time it took for the letter to come from Indiana, wherever it was at, to Vietnam. He gets a letter, and I think, I don't know how many hours difference was, 17 hours difference from Indiana to Vietnam, maybe 15, I don't know, whatever it was. And he looked at when she wrote the letter and what she was saying. She said she was praying for him when he was on that night patrol. When that event happened, he coordinated the time, the time frame, and it would have been exactly when she said she was praying for his protection. And then after I believed that, and then he finished the story by, he says, well, I actually saw her praying there on the field with me. So it was like he was holding that part of the story back because he didn't know if I was going to believe any of it, right? But then I was there, and then it was like, no, she was praying here, and then she sent a letter, and she was praying at the same time she was on the field praying there. And stories like that are redundant. I mean, they're not reporting them to the authorities or to the VA or anything else, but they do open up to me. Now, I had some really strange paranormal, supernatural things happen that I got investigated for when I was in the Army in Vietnam. Like predicting when a helicopter was going to crash and telling anybody was going to get killed. I mean, the military, when that happens, they don't let you off. They get investigate you, right? What'd you do to it, right? And then I got things happen where bullets came and went around me and didn't kill me and all kinds of stuff. I'm just kind of making light of those stories, but they're biggies. 45 years after I was investigated in Vietnam and they made fun of me and didn't believe me, I get a call from Langley, Virginia. And it lights up on my phone, Langley, Virginia, right? I go, what? Only one group of people I know work there, right? CIA, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like McDonald headquarters or something. So I got this contractor, and he tells me he's got my file, quote unquote, in front of him. And he wanted to know how I did all these different things, how I could make these predictions, how bullets avoided me, all this stuff. And he said he had a $28 million budget, and he was going to engineer all these things that happened to me. And he's trying to figure out, what I did and if I could help him. I go, no. How you gonna duplicate what's happening in this other world, right? So then he starts talking, and I wanted to know how he knew about that stuff, because he just read back these events that happened there, and I'm going, you guys got to file me. Yeah, we got to file you, but we can't tell you what's in it. I said, well, it's on me, right? He goes, yes, but I can't tell you what's in it. I said, I want a copy of it. And he goes, well, it's all going to be redacted. And then, the CIA, they redact everything. So we go back and forth and everything, and he says, well, we got files of all you guys. I go, what do you mean, all of us guys? And then he kind of opens up. I have a long conversation with him. Apparently there was several dozen similar people having events and things, weird, supernatural, paranormal events, including UFO stuff. They investigated, made fun of them there, told them they were crazy, and left them without any information. But they kept it all in a file, and they kept doing that in the military until now they have a unit, and he wouldn't allude to it, but I had friends in the Stargate, Stanford Research Institute. CIA run a thing called Stargate where they were doing remote viewing. And that's where I first learned of it, that there was a group of people, small unit, that had a special code name, but they couldn't give it to me because they didn't know it. But they laughingly referred to it as the Jedi Project, the Jedi Warriors, right? So they were trying to develop like special forces using special powers, right? And so they were working on this because the Russians were working on it. So, but it doesn't show up on any military budgets. It doesn't show up on any reports anywhere. And that makes you, when I said something about that, I said, well, where's the budget? The guy goes, do you think you pay $750 for a toilet seat for an airplane? Come on, you know? There's money out there that's being padded all kinds of places, right?
Yeah, and now this reminds me of just the exact program that we all saw in the movie The Men Who Stare at Goats, in the SRI program, right? And the idea of the remote viewers. That I'm amazed that they didn't tag you back in the military for the remote viewing program that was going on back then.
Like, I interviewed me and did everything when I was halfway through my tour in Vietnam. When I got back, they were still doing, they hadn't made up their mind what they were going to do. I got out in 68. So they started doing stuff much later, but they were building a file to like, what's the possibilities of stuff?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's, and my friends in remote viewing, they kind of went out of their way when those guys left that program to make them look bad, make them look like disgruntled employees, make them look like they're crazy, cause problems for them. That was hard for those guys to go out on their own and say something. You know, it's like David Morehouse, who wrote a book, Psychic Warrior, and all those guys. Those were real things going on there.
Yeah. Yeah, those guys literally were kind of shunned, like you said. They weren't given any opportunity to monetize their experience in the military. McMonagle, some of those guys, are probably some of the best remote viewers ever, basically having to be kicked out on their own and try to survive. But it's fascinating to me that you were on that kind of list back then, where now you recently just found out that there is still kind of an ongoing program of keeping track of you kind of guys.
Oh, I asked the guy because at the time, my home phone, they called it my home phone, my landline. We weren't in the telephone book. I wasn't listed. I wasn't advertising it. And yet these guys called me up, knew exactly where I was at, my address, and all the information, and my military record. I'm going. So, talk about the guys in the black suits, right, following you around. There's something. There's always something to these conspiracy stuff, like why these conspiracy theories start. There's always just enough to say, wait a minute. Right? Wait a minute, what's going on here? And
when you got that phone call from that gentleman from Langley, Virginia, did he give you an idea of why he was getting a hold of you at this late date?
Yeah, they wanted me to cooperate to figure out how to do that stuff, and I told them, well, if you want to pay for an airline ticket and give me a first-class hotel and feed me and take me back there, I'll teach you what I know, but it's going to take years. It's like, they wanted to engineer it. And I told them, look, if you want me to work with an individual, maybe I could do something. But you can't engineer knowing when an aircraft's going to crash and who's going to get killed. I mean, I would know who's going to get killed. I know who's going to get wounded. And the best I got from the military at the time was, we know you did something because nobody can predict this stuff, right? So we're watching you. And someday you're going to get arrested. You're going to be in Leavenworth for the rest of your life. I mean, nobody can predict all these guys got killed, right? You had to have something with it. So,
yeah,
it's crazy, but it's there's a lot more going on out there than meets the eye.
Did you happen to, for instance, all of a sudden click into this kind of a mode because of your near-death experience as a child or something? Or was this always something that was even before then? And you might want to kind of regale us about what happened to you in your near-death experience as well.
Okay, so realize that about 2 years old, I'm having these dreams where I'm being taught various meditation techniques. I didn't know them. I didn't know it was meditation. I didn't know it was a meditation technique. In fact, trips to India, I'm watching this guy, this Tibetan monk, teach me something where you breathe in through the navel and you bring, all these weird stuff. And I'm going, I was doing that at 2 years old. I learned it in a dream. Weird stuff, right? But when I was 8 years old, I was severely ill. I had a kidney disease that was like stage 4. It was really bad. I had lung disease. Both lungs were infected. I had a case of the mumps, and I had strep throat, and I had a bunch of other stuff. I had like 6, 7 things wrong with me all at the same time. By the time they got me to the hospital, the doctors were telling my stepfather and my mother it was probably too late. They strapped me on a gurney. My parents waved goodbye and left. And there I was at 8 years old, totally by myself, put me in an isolation ward, stuck some needles in my back, did some stuff, and then they shut off the lights and put me in a bed, and there I am all by myself. If you can imagine, 8 years old, never been away from home, and all of a sudden you're in an isolation ward in a county hospital, and nobody's talking to you, nobody's telling you what's going on. You're alone. So I'm there, and I'm having a hard time breathing because my lungs are filled up. And all of a sudden, this dark room starts lighting up. It's like somebody taking a dimmer switch. It's just getting lighter and lighter and lighter and lighter. And then I noticed that I'm not in pain. I'm apparently not breathing. And then I felt light, and then I look down and I see that there's my human body, flesh and blood, laying below me, and I'm sitting up. I'm looking down at it. And it didn't shake me up. It was like, okay, that's not me. That's just the body. But even at that age, I know that's not me, right? So I'm looking at this lit up panorama all the way around the room. It's just like lights. Brighter than I should have been I should have been blinded by the light. But I wasn't. And then there's this soft, feminine feel to the whole thing. It just felt motherly. It just felt relaxing. I was not afraid or anxious, or there was no anxiety. It was total peace. Like, all right, this is good, right? And then I've described it this past. I tell people, imagine being loved by 2 million Italian mothers. Pinching your cheek, hugging you, kissing you. They can't get enough of you. They just love you to death, right? Imagine 2 million of those hugging you. So I went from being totally alone and feeling unloved, abandoned, to being totally nurtured, totally one with whatever this light was. And this light was all about love and peace. And that's great comfort. It was great comfort to me. And then, like a great movie screen, this movie of my life going forward starts being shown on the screen. I don't know if it was all night, if it was 20 minutes, if it was a half hour, if it was not, I have no clue. Time was not an issue. It was just, it went on. I don't know what real time was, but in the place I was at, there was no time. So it was like it wasn't a life review backwards, like when you have a near-death experience. I had that not far to go back, right? It was a preview, a presentation of here's what's going to happen. And in that preview, I'm also seeing Kennedy assassination, but I didn't know at 8 years old any of the significance. I saw the same stuff, but I didn't know who Kennedy was. I didn't know none of that stuff. I saw my wife's face. I knew I was going to meet her in high school. I knew we were going to get married later. In fact, I'm still married to her. We met in 1960. We're still together.
Wow.
She thought I was crazy when I told her I'm going to marry you someday. I told her that at the same time I was breaking up with her as a senior in high school because she had to go to college. college. Your parents paying for college. I said, no, I got to go to Vietnam. I got to do some other stuff. I'll be back in 6 years. I don't fly, you know, with a girlfriend. I don't fly. But that's exactly what happened. But I saw all these events. I saw where I was going to live, what cities I was going to move to, where I was going to work. I saw my children. I saw everything up till just before my 59th birthday. So it was 50 years. You know, and I knew it was 50 years. For some reasons, I knew it was 50 years. How I knew that, I didn't see a calendar or nothing, but I knew it was going to take me up to just before my 59th birthday. And while I'm watching that, there's these. We got to take another break coming up before I start this great story.
Well, yeah, we're going to take a break at the probably within 30 seconds. Yeah. Oh, cool. We're going to hold him over until the break, and we'll come back. Oh, this is fascinating here, Reverend Bill. Oh, my word. Not only a near-death experience, but a kind of like pre-life review that you're going through at the same time. Oh, that's fascinating stuff. Okay, folks, we're going to be right back with more Spaced Out Sunday right after this.
Cold drinks, great food, and the best music in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is the place to be, open until 2 a.m. nightly. Everything on the menu starts at just $6.95. Who serves food that cheap anymore? At the Moose, you'll never know who you'll run into. Rock stars, actors, athletes. It's the place everyone wants to be. So join us at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
Hey everybody, the SOR Space Travelers is open. For just $5 a month, you can hang out with Dave and our crew privately in our members-only section. With your signing, you'll receive newsletters on what's going on with Spaced Out Radio. You'll have direct contact with the host during the show in our chat, live streaming videos, and a great forum for your posts and more. Become a space traveler now at spacedoutradio.com.
Looking for something new to push your limits? Look Beyond the Spectrum, a new docu-series featuring some of the best researchers in the world when it comes to everything from UFOs, government cover-ups, and strange humanoids. Truth seekers Stephen Bassett, Jeff Meldrum, Jack Kasher, and Stanton Friedman, among others, all chip in to bring their knowledge to you. Beyond the Spectrum can be found on Amazon as well as Tubi TV. Tell us what you think on our Amazon page.
Are you looking for great advertising value for your company? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. We have a multitude of places to get your name out there, including commercial ads during the show, special promotions, and banners on our website. Our audience is proven to support the companies that support our show. We can make your budget work for you. So for more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
At spacedoutradio.com, we are keeping you up to date on all the news with the SOR Newswire. Captain Shirk leads the team that is bringing you the news of the day and exclusive stories on everything paranormal and supernatural. It's free to read, it's updated daily, and it's right there for you. The SOR Newswire is a one-stop shop for the news of the day. Check it out at spacedoutradio.com today.
Hello everyone, this is Ryan Stacy from the Experiencer Support Association, otherwise known as TESSA. We're glad to team up with Spaced Out Radio to help investigate your experiences on the SOR Sightlines Report. Together, we'll investigate the strange sightings and occurrences you've had. We're looking for answers just like you. So fill out a Sightlines report on the Spaced Out Radio website and let's figure out what's going on together.
Need that weekend supernatural fix? Look no further than Spaced Out Saturday right here at spacedoutradio.com. I'm Stacey Edwards.
And I'm John Edwards. Each Saturday night, Stacey and I are going to bring you the best in paranormal, cryptids, UFOs, you name it, and we're going there.
It's all about the experience and to share the knowledge with all of you.
So tune us in every Saturday night on Spaced Out Saturdays, starting at 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Hello, space travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month and follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
I'm feeling a little spicy tonight. What to do? What to do?
Why not get Bumblefuck?
4 million Scoville units of pure hard rock. Bumblefoot hot sauces come in 3 flavors. The burning Bumble. Tone it down a bit with Bumblicious and throw the sauce on everything.
Spice it up. Bumble me, baby. Bumblefoot hot sauce. Get it today at kajans.com.
And we are back with the Reverend Bill McDonald, and boy, are we talking about some interesting subjects here from the Spiritual Warrior. You were talking about this near-death experience as a youngster and a pre-life review that you were getting at that point. That's very fascinating. Go ahead and continue on.
All right, so there I am, having this film of my life just transpired in front of me, showing me all the way up to just about the age 59. And there was this odd set of numbers, a 29, and it would tumble in this view, and the 2 would turn to a 5. You know, sometimes a 2 can look like a 5 if you flip it around.
Yeah.
So it was going 29, 59, 29, 59. So at the time, at that age, I'm thinking, well, maybe I'm going to die at 29 or something's going to happen. Maybe end of my life is 59. I don't know. I was trying to figure out what it was. Years later, somebody tried to tell, no, that's your Saturn. Saturn comes back into your life, every 29 years, 29, 59, Saturn comes. And I'm going, man, I'm not into astrology. I didn't know. But that's kind of like a death astrologically, and change and stuff. So I thought, okay, maybe. But when I had my second, right after I had my second near-death experience, that changed. I got a little different meaning on that. What happened was I went to India, and I don't know if you want to know about the second near-death experience. It wasn't too spectacular. I was revived by a cobra snake. If that means anything.
Oh my! So you're how old in the first near death? You said it was in high school or something?
First near death, 8 years old.
8 years old. Okay, and then the second time.
50 years forward.
50 years forward. Then you're in India, and what happens next?
I'm in India at 58, almost 59. Got it?
Oh.
So I'm going to Babaji's Cave, which is this very spiritual, special place. If you read the spiritual classic Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda, this is where Kriya Yoga is reintroduced to the world, and it's done in this cave with his disciple Larry Masha. You know, I may mean some of these people out there, and it doesn't matter one way or the other if it does or not. It's to me it did, because at 9 years old I read the book and I got to go to Babaji's Cave. It's a sacred place. I got to go there, find this great Babaji, this avatar. And it took me until I was 50 years, right? 50 years to get there. And I finally go to the cave, and I'm coming back from the cave, and there was a lot of neat stuff happening in the cave, but we only got a 3-hour show. I mean, there's so many stories involved here. I want to stick to the main points here. But I'm having a heart attack, and I'm having a brain seizure at the same time, and I'm standing in the Himalayan mountains. It was a 30-foot cliff. It wasn't totally straight down. It kind of went down and jagged, a couple of shelves. So when I eventually fell, I bounced a couple times. That's a good thing, right?
Whoa.
So I pass out. My heart's just beating out of my chest, and I'm chest pains, and I can't breathe, and I fall over, and I land on my back on a boulder about the size of a Volkswagen Bug at the bottom of this thing, looking up. And all of a sudden, the pain in my heart's gone. There is no beating heart. There is no pulse. And I realized that I'm no longer in a body. And I'm up above, a ways up. And I'm looking down at that poor body down there thinking, that poor body. I don't need it. I've been to Babaji's Cave. I got my bucket list thing done. I mean, I'm good. And I wasn't worried about it. But as I'm feeling great, I'm feeling loved, and it's just really neat, wonderful. All of a sudden, I look down there, and there's this cobra snake. And I see the head of it coming out of this grass. And it crawls over my boots, over my feet, of the body down there, right? I don't know how big it was. I mean, my wife got upset with me because the first time I told the story, I think it was 6-7 feet. And then about 3 years later, all of a sudden it was a king cobra. So when I tell the story, I'm an Irishman, so you just got to be with me. But I'll just say it was a large snake. And if it was crawling over, Michael, if it was crawling over your boots, you would say it was a large cobra snake too. I mean, there'd be no other adjective. It's large. Right? So I'm seeing it crawl over my shoes, but instead of being fearful, anxious, or anything else, there's this great overwhelming love for the snake. Just comes out of me. I want to touch that snake. I want to hug that snake. I want to grab it. And I'm having these thoughts, and the next thing you know, it was like those paddles that the paramedics have, the toot, start your heart. What do you call those things? Defibrillators.
Yeah.
It's like somebody put a defibrillator on my heart and my spine. Because my spine just kind of went shoo, like energy just shot all the way out of the top of my head. It was just vibrations. It was just beautiful. It was just boom, and I was filled with love. And all of a sudden I found myself standing up, breathing in air. And my heart was feeling good, and I was feeling great, right? And I'm reaching down trying to grab this cobra. I have my hands up. Your radio people that are listening to this won't be able to see my hands. But my hands were, trying to put my hands together and separate by about 4 or 5 inches. There's a distance there. I couldn't get my hands around the snake to grab it. Kept slipping through because my fingers couldn't touch. I mean, I couldn't get all the way around the snake. So it was bigger than my grasp. And it was going through it. And I kept grabbing it. I'm pulling at this snake, and it's trying to get away from me. And we're talking about a live cobra with fangs and venom and deadly, right? And I'm trying to capture it. I want to hold it. I'm trying. So I chased it down. I found it gets way behind a waterfall. But that happened in November. I believe it was November of 2004. And a normal human being, as my wife would tell me later at the lecture, as soon as they got back to civilization on the Himalayan mountains, what would they normally do? He'd go to a doctor. Hey, look, my heart stopped. I fell off a cliff. Right? Nah. I come back. I don't say nothing to wife. I don't say nothing to nobody. I go home, but I'm not really feeling great, as you can imagine, right? But the first problem I have is I got a tumor right here between the eyebrows, right up above that spiritual eye. I got a cancerous tumor. I go into the doctor and I say, hey, I got something wrong here. And she goes, well, we got to take it out. It appears to be cancerous, you know. And it turned out it was cancerous tumor. And instead of being upset by that, I was like, darn. I go to India to meet the great gurus and all that stuff, and I come home and have an operation to remove the cancer, the disease from my spiritual eye. Now, what kind of symbol is that, right? Very symbolic, right?
Yeah.
So, that was in December. End of January, after passing out 3 times on my garage floor, and then passing out, practically having a heart attack on my sofa, I tell my wife, I go, you know, I'm not feeling too good. I'm going to go drive to Kaiser Hospital and just check in, make sure I'm okay. I'm having some issues. Well, she goes, you want me to drive you? I go, nah, I'll drive myself. So I get in my pickup truck while having a full-blown heart attack, right? I get in my pickup, and I drive 7 miles to Sacramento, find a parking spot, which ain't easy to do in an ER, right? Everybody wants to park in ER. I come inside. If you're in an ambulance, you come in, they immediately work on you. If you walk in, they figure it's not really an emergency, right? They put you in a line. I come in, I'm having a heart attack. I'm getting in line. Okay. 20 minutes in the line, they give me a form to fill out, insurance forms, questions, stuff. Then I'm told to go back in another line, and that's only about 8-10 minutes. I get up there, and the lady looks at the chart, and on there I write, I'm having a heart attack. And she reads it out loud. You're having a heart attack. Look, Mr. Rich looks my name. Look, Mr. McDonald, we'll be the judge of that. She says, how'd you get here? And I said, well, I drove my pickup truck. And you waited over there? Yeah, I've been here about a half hour. Yeah. Okay, sit down. I'll take a look at it. She's doing paperwork, looking at her screen. Incidentally, showing me any time or attention, right? She puts her stethoscope on, she's listening. All of a sudden she goes, my God, Mr. McDonald, you're having a heart attack. She's all excited, right? She's calling for a gurney and all this stuff. And I said, no, that's what I told you. I'm having a heart attack. But I'm telling her, just like I'm talking to you right now, totally calm. I mean, my heart's going crazy. But I'm calm. And they think if you're calm, nothing's happening, right? And she goes, how long has this been going on? I said, oh, about 2 hours. So I finally go in to see the doctor. So, and he wants to operate, he wants to do all these things. And I tell him, I go, Doc, I start complaining, which is not normally me, but I complain. I go, look, when I was sick as a kid, I was in the hospital. When I got out, I changed my lifestyle. I came out and became a vegetarian. I didn't smoke. I didn't drink coffee. I didn't drink booze. I didn't do drugs. I didn't do nicotine, caffeine. I didn't do sugar. I didn't add sugar or salt to it. I mean, I meditated. I mean, I lived a clean life, right? And he looks at me. He looks at my chart and he says, Mr. McDonald, looking at you today and figuring out kind of your genetic history and everything, I would have bet money that you would have been dead by 29 had you not done all that. So now I'm going 29. And then he goes, instead of you being here now, just a couple weeks before your 59th birthday. So then I'm thinking 29, 59. Okay. So I had changed my predetermined destiny by changing, when I got out of the hospital, I changed my diet. I was the only one in my family a vegetarian. And trust me, being a vegetarian in the 1950s, there's no place to eat, no restaurants, nothing, right? There was no special accommodations. But I did. And I didn't do all these other, I took good care of myself. And yet, I ended up with heart disease. Agent Orange, that's another issue.
Yeah, I'll bet.
Food won't stop that, right? So, I'm thinking, I was on a talk show 2 weeks ago, and she was talking about, I don't know what term she used, but there's walk-ons or something where people come and take a body or something.
Yeah.
And she asked me about that, and I said, nobody ever asked me about that. She just asked me about it. I said, things are possible, but I don't know anything. Then I started thinking, when I was 29 years old, after a real long meditation, and I went to bed, and I was staring at this picture of Paramount Honda. I left my body. I had what you call a rainbow body experience, where I was this film of light, a rainbow, basically. And I thought at the time I was traveling like Star Trek, all the planets, stars, everything going by it. But in reality, 30-some, 40-some years later, it finally dawned on me that I wasn't never traveling anywhere. My consciousness was expanding. Because how could you be traveling if you're getting to all directions, up, down, sideways, everywhere? I'm going everywhere, right? And I really became one with the universe. So it was like one of those experiences, which we could talk about later if we want, but it was an hour long. But when I was in the experience, having the experience, I knew it was 300 million years long. But it was only an hour at a time. When I came back, by an hour and some change, an hour and 10 minutes or something. But when I came back, I was crying. I told my wife, I said, quote unquote, I'm not me anymore. I'm not me anymore. And that's kind of puzzled me, because for 2 or 3 years there was me before that, and I have all the memories of me. And then there was me coming back saying, I'm not that guy. I'm a different person coming back than I was when I left. And I didn't have that realization until 2 weeks ago when I did this interview, and then she asked about that question. I'm thinking, wow, because she goes, well, I could be like a death, spiritual death. You kind of, then you got, so at 29, maybe I had a spiritual death, and then I came back. That was a different thing, right? So 29, 59, spoiler alert, I had a heart procedure and I survived it. But then we ended up having a third near-death experience. I don't know if we'll break when the time comes for that. But this one started in India. I made a lot of trips to India once I survived 59. Right? Later on, I started going back to India on multiple trips because I was still looking for that guru on the mountaintop experience. The guy that's gonna. Yeah.
No, it sounds like you were drawn there most of your life, and then you finally realized the ability that you needed to get back there. How many times have you made that trip to India?
Four times, and then one supernatural time, which we'll talk about on this other thing. But
wow.
On one of those trips there, I was at this ashram, and the guru goes, Beal, I want you to go get a naughty palm read. Get your reading. I don't know what he was talking about. And I'm going, look, I don't need my palm read. And then I'm thinking, well, maybe naughty is an energy point or something. I didn't know what he was talking about. So he tried to explain me what a naughty leaf or palm leaf reading was. I had no clue. And probably some of the people listening to this don't know either. But 2,500 to 5,000 years ago, so before Jesus, well before, right? These great rishis, these sages, these men, ascended masters, call them whatever you want, but there was like 18 of them. And they channeled, it's the closest word I can come to, was the word people use now, they're channeling beings and information. So it was kind of like channeling. They channeled people's information for the future from 5,000, 2,500 years ago, whatever, to the first century, to the 17th century, to the 1800s, to 1956, to 2000 something, to even 2100 or more. I mean, all kinds of people, all kinds of time. And they wrote these things down, scribes. These guys would sit there with this palm leaf, and they'd etch them in there when it was still fresh palm leaf, they cut the fronds off, and you have this leaf, and they could carve into it, and then they'd slack it afterwards. And these things were written thousands of years ago. And so that's what I was told. I'm going, yeah. I said, how do you find these things? She says, well, there's millions of them. There's like about 18 places in India where they could be, all kinds of warehouses and old places. And so if you got one, though, it'll be found. If it's your time and you're supposed to have it, they'll find it. So that's what I'm told. And I said, well, how do they find it? And he says, well, for men, they take your right thumbprint. And for women, they take your left thumbprint. And from that, they go searching for it. It could take 6 months to find it. It could be found immediately. It could be found in weeks, days, whatever. So, and you may never find it because it's not your time to have one, right? So I thought it was all kind of like fortune telling. I'm thinking, all right, you're going to send me this guy. I didn't want to go. I didn't believe in it. I was skeptical. And I've had a lot of things happen, and I was skeptical. I'm a skeptic. I mean, I believe everything's possible, but I don't believe everybody that has an experience, if that makes sense.
Sure.
I always judge the credibility of each individual. But I don't poo-bah it. I have choice when I listen to somebody's story. I go, I can't prove it or disprove it, so it's in the realm of possibility. And then from there, I mean, is this guy wearing a tin hat? I mean, is he one of those? Or he's a credible person, right? So I make a judgment on that. But I never expose anybody. I don't tell anybody. Because ultimately, that's their truth. And who really knows what happened, right? How do you disprove something that you can't prove, right? So I'm sent to this guy. And there's a bunch of questions the guru wants him to ask. Ultimately, when you go in there, they give you a thumbprint. If they can find with your thumbprint, great. Then they'll call you in the room and talk to you. If they don't, you could be coming back for weeks, months, or not finding it at all. But an hour goes by and they say they got it. So that made me a bigger skeptic because I'm thinking, if they got millions of these and they could be all across India, and this guy finds mine in an hour, right? A pile that's. They find people have similar thumbprint. Apparently, there's 108 different indentations and different squiggly line patterns. So it's like a horoscope. You got 12 signs, Aries, Pisces, all that kind of stuff. The thumbprints, there's like 108 different divisions. Who knew? And then from that, they get more specific, and I don't know how they find them from that. That's all I really know. So an hour's time goes by, and I'm called into this room, and I don't have my wedding ring on. My friends went with me. I said, "Don't call me by my name. I'm having no conversations about personal life. I don't think I have a listening device. I don't know what's going on, right? But I also know that mentalist acts in Vegas because I've studied some of that, and I can look like I'm reading your mind, and I can figure out all this stuff through manipulation, how I word things, how I do things, and you swear to God I'm reading your mind, because I did it. My family didn't believe me when I told them that. And I wrote down 3 things on this piece of paper, and I talked to them for about 10 minutes, and they thought I was just giggling, just garbage stuff, right? And I said, okay, now I want you to write down the first vegetable you think of, first tool you think of, and the first color you think of. Write it down. Don't think about it. Boom. So I had like 5 or 6 people write them down. And then I said, I pulled out of my pocket this 3 pieces of paper with red, carrot, and a hammer. And they all looked. I said, look at your cards. And they all had written the same exact thing, right? So I'm not impressed with that, right? Because you can manipulate people. So I went in there on guard and ready for everything. And so I went in there, I'm only going to answer yes or no to the questions, because they pull out these, they look like Venetian blinds. They're about this long. They're on a cord. And they read it. It's in an ancient language. So they got some guy that reads it in an ancient language, and he has to interpret it to you. And he pulls out the stack, and the first 6 were close, but no, it wasn't it. And he goes, okay, the 7th leaf, he says, intuitively, I know this is yours. And he started reading it, and he goes, he looks down and he says, your name is 4 letters long. Okay. I go by Bill. I don't go by William. I go by Bill. I said, okay. I just said yes. He says it starts with B. Yes. He says it's Bill. B-I-L-L. I go, yes. Which is interesting. At the time, I thought he was reading the actual name in English off the thing. Because when he did my mother's name and my wife's name, I thought he was reading it off the thing. Then I found out after talking to some experts that, no, it's all sounds. And then he sounds it out and figures it. I don't know how they do that. That's a big mystery. But it wasn't. I saw him looking at the thing, reading it, and I assumed it was written on there. But it wasn't. Anyway, he goes, and your name is exactly the same as your father. I'm Junior, named after my father, right? Same exact names. It says was, meaning he's dead. All right, we'll leave it there so you get to go to the top of the hour and do your thing. But we'll come back and I'll get to the nitty-gritty of that and then take you to the near-death experience that follows all that.
Oh, what a great segue you got going there, buddy. Oh, that's fascinating stuff. Oh, my word. Okay, well, we're going to be taking our break here at the top of the hour. We'll be right back with Spaced Out Sunday.
Hey, space travelers. This is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
Are you an experiencer of something strange that can't be explained? Do you want help finding out what's going on? I'm Ryan Stacy, head of the Experiencer Support Association, otherwise known as TESSA. We've teamed up with Spaced Out Radio to investigate cases filled out in the SOR Sightlines report. We are independent and there's no cost to what we do. All we need is your experience. Let's find out what's happening together on the SOR Sightlines report.
We are scouring the world for the most intriguing stories of your day. Take the time to read up on the SOR Newswire, where our team, led by Captain Shirk, will deliver to you some of the best paranormal and supernatural news, along with some stories that will blow your mind from the weird to the wacky. It's the news outside the news that piques interest, and that's what we're looking to deliver to you. The SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Hi there, this is Dave Scott, and I'm bringing you the Woo every Monday through Friday on Spaced Out Radio. I'm going all out to bring you the strangest, oddest stories and subjects I could find for your entertainment. Why? Because when we hit peak Woo, I know I've done my job. So come tune us in at spacedoutradio.com, 9:06 Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, and together, my friends, we own the night.
The SOR Vault is open for business, and do we have some cool swag for you to pick up? All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the store you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
If you like it hot, real hot, then heat up your meals with Bumblefoot hot sauce.
Get your Bumblefoot hot sauce today. The sauce, Bumblicious, and the 4 million Scoville unit Bumble. We're going in hot, real hot, coming out even hotter.
Keep the milk nearby and tantalize your taste buds tonight.
Bumblefoot hot sauce, available now at kajans.com.
Hello, space travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month and follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
Looking for creative ways to get your company out in the public? How about advertising on Spaced Out Radio? Our sales department is waiting to hear from you, and we can work around any budget. From commercial spots to banners to special promotions, there are many opportunities to get your name and product out to our SOR listeners. For a price guide and more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother is Watching.
Hi, this is Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel where we store all of the SOR show archives for free. And as an added bonus, every 2 weeks I'm posting brand new content on Cryptid Tales, where I will get into some of the spookier legends and folklore from around the world and tell the stories that go with them. Find us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio and check out Cryptid Tales today. Drop a comment and let me know what you want to hear. See you there.
For the price of 1 cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
Hey everyone, I'm John Edwards.
And I'm Stacey Edwards. Together we're taking over Saturday nights on Spaced Out Radio, where we're going to bring our own experiences of the paranormal and talk to the best people we can find to help bring you answers to your strange tales.
We're here to entertain your need for weekend woo! So tune us in at spacedoutradio.com starting at 9:06 Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, where we can all get a little spooky together.
Spaced Out Saturday nights right here at spacedoutradio.com.
My hands can feel good. I'm free. I'm remembering who I am. My hands can feel
Welcome back to the third and final hour of Spaced Out Sunday. I am your host, Michael W. Hall. Thanks for being with us tonight. We welcome back everyone listening in our terrestrial affiliates, WQEE 99.1 FM in Noonan, Georgia, and UPRN 107.7 FM in New Orleans. On the digital side, we are also on Revolution Radio. And don't forget, you can always check out our archives for free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do us all a favor and hit that subscribe button. Our website, of course, is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to some Bumblefoot, shopping at our Spaced Out Radio store, and catching up on the SOR Newswire and so much more. And I'll tell you what, this show is flying by so fast here with my special guest, the Reverend Bill McDonald. And we were talking about an amazing experience. I think it was your third near-death experience, Bill? Getting close. Yeah. Well, keep going here. This is fascinating stuff.
All right, I left everybody hanging.
You do that every time we go to one of these breaks. Yeah, definitely.
But with what I call a naughty palm leaf reading. And so there I am in a room with this naughty astrologer, basically. And he's got these leaves, and he's reading this thing, and you have to answer all the questions yes for it to be your leaf. And then when they get that, then they know they got the right leaf, right? But yeah, there's about 40 questions. So he got my name, and he got my father's name, and the fact that my father was dead. And then he goes, and your mother's name was, and again, he said Marcella. He kind of spelled it out, or syllable, just made it sound like it. And again, I thought he was reading that off the thing, but he wasn't. It was a foreign language, and I don't know how he figured out Marcella. And then he goes, and your wife's name is Carol, which I thought was pretty impressive, because sometimes I've been married 51 years and I can't remember my wife's name. I always call her, this is how I introduce you, this is my wife. That way I don't have to remember her name, right?
Yeah.
But so, and then he goes down that she went to college and graduated, from a good college, She went to Berkeley, Cal Berkeley. So
Wow.
I assumed I had to say yes because, to me, I went to University of San Francisco. I think that's the best school, but nobody else is in agreement. But and then it got, I have 2 children, and it got a lot of personal stuff correct, right? Then it goes, and your birthday is March 16th, 1946. And I go, well, that's a pretty darn good guess, because you got 365 days a year plus 366 for leap year. And you could kind of guess my age. I don't know. I'm almost 75. I don't know how old I look. But I'm going, yes. And then he goes, well, we're having trouble determining what hour you were born. And at the time I had to laugh because I didn't want to give him the information. But basically, when I was born, the doctor wasn't there. So I was partially birthed. That's another whole story. I was partially birthed into a bedpan. My mother was getting an enema and I popped in. Anyway, that's another whole story. I started life off very humble. All full of crap. But for an Irishman, that's typical. What can I say? So anyway, when the doctor did get to me when I was born, they asked the nurses, and they didn't know, well, sometime between 1:05, 1:10, and 1:25 in the morning. They weren't sure. So the doctor took a guess. I think he guessed at 1:10 or 1:15 or something. That's what I got my birth certificate, but it's a guess. So these guys go, well, we don't know exactly what time you were born, but we're going to take a guess about 1:10. I'm going, so that was like uncanny, right? So here's these astrologers, and they're giving me the same thing that the doctors did. They took it a guess, right? So they're going to base all their astrology on that. So I thought that was really interesting. And then I went through about, it goes, you're going to write a book about your guru, you're going to write a book about all kinds of stuff. It was just yes. 40 questions. So I thought, okay, that's impressive. I took my money out. I thought that was a reading. And the guy goes, no. That's not the reading. That's just so we get your index card. Now we know who you are. Now we're going to do a chart on you and take you upstairs. So 6 hours later, I get a reading, and they start with this life, and they kind of told me everything I did pretty much up to the time I walked in there. I mean, it was really accurate, you were sick as a kid, all this kind of stuff. And then they go to a past life. And the guru that sent me told him, his instructions was they were supposed to go to a past life, a significant one that had ties to things that are happening to me today, so I'd understand them. So it wasn't necessarily the last lifetime. It was just a lifetime that has a connection with today. And he told these astrologers to spare me nothing, but they want to know, the guru want to know what my worst sin was in that lifetime to bring up right. And so I'm going upstairs and a couple guys are coming down that just had their reading and they're crying and teary-eyed because they found out that they murdered somebody and tortured somebody and they were all kinds of stuff. And I go, holy cow, man, what's the worst sin I could have did? So it goes back to a previous lifetime. And again, this makes a good story. It's not coming from me, it's coming from these astrologers. So whatever the truth is, it makes a good story, right? So it's not like me making these things up. So I was apparently a senior monk at a ashram, and of my present guru, who was back then That was his ashram. And I made the mistake of falling emotionally in love with some woman, and vow of chastity and all that stuff. And I had no intentions of breaking it or anything. I just had a fleeting thought that I loved this woman. But I've taken vows and all this stuff, so it was like, and the guru read my mind and cursed my mind. And I left, with a bad mind, having trouble thinking and everything. And ended up the last days of my life bathing in the Ganges River and coming up to this beautiful light and being dissolved in this rainbow body as I'm looking at Lord Shiva, and just go into the light as this rainbow. Right? According to the reading, every lifetime they could go back looking, they went back 10 lifetimes or something. And every lifetime I ended the same way, leaving in a rainbow body and leaving the body behind, but leaving in this rainbow body, and then choosing to come back again for another lifetime. I thought, well, okay, that's interesting. It makes a great story. No proof. Who knows? But it's a great story. All right. So then they go into predictions of the future. But before we start that, I go, well, what's the significance of that lifetime? Why'd you pick that lifetime? He says, well, apparently there's a tie-in between your guru that you're with now, staying in this ashram, and in the past. So in the past, your mind was cursed. Has anything happened this lifetime? I'm going, yeah. When I first met him in Berkeley, of all places, he did a thing in the audience, and he looked directly at me, and he says, I'm sending a healing vibration for the brain. And at the time, I was suffering from, because I got blown up in Vietnam, and I was having brain seizures for like 40-some years. And when I went to see him, I was having 200 and some epileptic seizures in like the first 8 months of the year. That's a lot, right? I mean, and the doctor said, just a couple days before I met him, said if I had any more, I could probably die because, they're really bad. So I didn't tell the guru that. I met the guru, I didn't tell him that. He looked out the audience and says, I'm saying healing vibrations for the brain. And that was August of 2008. And after 40-some years of seizures, I never had one after that.
Wow.
So I thought, well, that's a tie-in then, right? Because it puts a curse on my brain, right? So I got this brain fog. I got problems with the mind.
Yeah.
And then he's back this lifetime, meets me randomly in this huge audience and goes, boom, and it's gone. So it was like, okay, so that made sense to me. I said, okay, all right. So then he started predicting the future, and he made some really outlandish things. You're going to write a book about your guru, blah, blah, blah. Well, I was working on a book, which is, people can't see it, but I'll show you anyway. But Alchemy of a Warrior's Heart, which is about meeting these gurus and all that stuff. I was working on that book, and he goes, and they tell me, you're going to finish that book, and you're going to publish it, and then you're going to start seeing things and experiencing things that you ignored before because you didn't recognize them. Your spiritual eye, your awakening, your energy. You were having visits from Lord Shiva in different disguises and you never recognized. But now you will recognize Lord Shiva in all his disguises. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe Babaji or something, I don't know. So, and then then he goes, and then you're going to be standing or sitting, or you're going to be someplace, and out of the sky is going to fall oil and water on your head, and Shiva or Babaji, and they were kind of blurring the two together. It's going to bless you. And so there was a bunch of strange predictions like that, including one that said, in a certain year, you're going to go to this temple in southern India, and when you get there, you're going to walk uphill 2 to 4 hours. When you get to the top of the hill, the rishis, remember the rishis, the guy that wrote these naughty reads? All the rishis will be there waiting for you. And they will impart wisdom on you, and you won't have to ask any questions because you'll know all the answers already. And I'm thinking, that's something, and yeah, okay, great. So, and then they said, they gave me a reading, went to the year 2020, this year, right? Nothing after that. and said, there's nothing to see after that. Looks like you're dead, whatever,
Whoa.
And it's the only thing that can change that is the Guru or Lord Shiva. If you're doing work that they need done, then that will be changed. And which is odd about that, because I just did a new naughty video for my YouTube channel, because I met this guy that does readings and stuff, and I interviewed him, and he talked about this stuff. He says, "Oh, well, why don't I give you? We'll go give you a reading, right?" So I tried to give him my thumbprints. 10 years before, in 2010, when I had this reading done, my thumbprints were clear. They were neat. Boom, boom. Put a couple down. It was a piece of cake. 10 years, they're just smudge marks. There's no thumbprints. So I did about 40 or 50, and I finally sent them what I had, and it took a couple weeks, and they said, okay, we used magnifying glasses, we did this, we're going to look. So we'll see what happens on that. But it's like, there was no reading after 2020, and now it's 2020, right?
Wow.
And I tried to get a reading, and it's like, I'm going to tell you right now, as a spoiler alert, they made all these predictions. Every single prediction they made has happened, except for me dying. Okay, so just set the stage, right? So I come back in a couple of years. It's 2011, I think. I'm there. I have a major heart attack. I keel over. I get sent to the emergency hospital in India. I finally fly home. I collapse at the airport in Denver. Coming back home, going through customs, I collapse. I have another heart attack. And here's what's crazy. 6 hours with the paramedics, and I'm telling them, well, I'm going back. I'm going to the hospital back to Sacramento. They actually permit me to get back on an airplane. After telling them I had a heart attack in India, went to ER, and having a heart attack and collapsing there at the airport, they actually permit me after 6 hours to get on an airplane flight 2 hours to Sacramento. Can you believe that?
Whoa.
So yeah, it's really strange. So I got I had to have a pulmonary embolism. I mean, I had to have a blood, I had to have blood clot, blockage there in lungs. I mean, it's going to happen on an airplane, right? So anyway, so I get to Sacramento, and as soon as I get there, the doctor looks at me, puts me in the hospital, and that's it. I'm 4 days in isolation and in intensive care because I'm too weak for them to operate on me. They got to do open heart surgery. They're going to give me a quadruple bypass. And they tell me they're going to put me on a heart and lung machine. So I finally, after 4 days, I'm transported to another hospital by ambulance. I get there. The morning comes to the operation. It's like 6 o'clock in the morning because this thing is going to be 6 to 8 hours, I'm told. 6 to 8 hours. So I asked the doctor, I'm laying on this metal table, totally naked. All metal tables when you're naked are cold. But an operating room for surgery, they actually keep cold. It's like air conditioned, really cold, because they don't want bacteria growing, right? So it's cold. I mean, doctors are all kind of bundled up underneath that stuff they got. So I'm laying there, and they kindly put a sheet under me, a sheet to insulate me against the metal. Like that's going to do something, right? Okay. So the guy's getting ready to inject me to put me out, and I'm going, well, tell me what's going to happen, Doc. He says, well, and here's a good bedside manner of the doctor. He says, you could have said, I'm going to gently cut your chest open. And no, he goes, I'm going to rip your chest open. That's the exact words. I'm going to rip your chest open. He shows me this tool and these clippers and stuff. And I mean, it looks like guys working in a machine shop. And I'm going, okay, he's going to rip. Okay, I'm already not feeling that great about having my chest ripped up. It's going to be ripped open, right? And then he says, and then I'm going to take this artery off and I'm going to connect it to this heart-lung machine, and it's going to pump oxygenated blood into your body, so your heart is not going to be beating. It's going to stop. We're going to stop it. Ice or something. I don't know what they're going to do. And we're going to, your lungs are going to stop, so you don't have to breathe, and you don't have to have your heart beating. In fact, he says, and he's laughing about it. He goes, you kind of say you're dead, really. I mean, we're keeping you alive on this machine. I go, okay. keep the electricity on, keep it plugged in, right? So I'm going into this thing thinking, this is my last question to him. I said, well, Doc, when I'm in this heart-lung machine, what happens is, well, we got to give you we can't give you a full amount of anesthesia. So some people have complained when they come back that they're able to feel things, but it's only like 2 to 5% of people. You'll be all right. Well, I happen to be one of those people. I could feel everything, anyway. So he gives me a shot. He tells me, count backwards from 100. When you do that, you only get to about 95 or 6 or something, right? You never remember.
Yeah.
I'm out. Instantaneously out. And instantaneously, I am physically transported, like I got a second body. Not an astral body traveling, not a vision of me going someplace, not a spiritual thing. I mean, I'm finding myself standing outside that temple, that Shiva temple I was supposed to go to in India. I'm standing outside of it, knowing that that's the temple, and I'm realizing this is when they told me I was supposed to be here, right? The prediction. But the prediction, I assumed it was going to be real, right? And then I'm thinking, well, I'm in a real body. And of course, when I have my spiritual adventures, I'm very modest. I'm fully clothed, just so you know. I didn't appear bare-ass naked there from the hospital table. I had clothing on. But people are walking by and bumping into me. And they're looking at me, and they're walking around me and stuff. And I'm going, no, I'm not a vision to these people. I'm real. And I feel my feet on the ground. So what's the first thing I do? I go, well, the operation's 68 hours. I got all kinds of time. I'm walking uphill, right? Right? Remember the thing was walk uphill 2 to 4 hours?
Yeah.
I'm taking a stroll. So this operation, and I feel in this body that I'm walking on, it's a flesh and blood body. But I'm feeling pushing and shoving and things going on inside my chest. That's happening on the operating table in Sacramento, halfway around the world. But in reality, in a whole different world, right?
Wow.
So I walk up this hill, and I don't know how long it was. It was 2 to 4 hours, someplace like that. It was amount of time. I'm walking up. I'm feeling the sunshine on my skin. I'm smelling the flowers. I'm sensing everything. I'm feeling everything. And I get to the top of this hill, and there, on tree stumps and a log and some rocks, and there's a little campfire, and there's these rishis standing around and sitting. And it's like they're from Jamaica. You ever see those wild hairs, like these gurus got, and these Jamaican guys got with the weird braided hair? And,
yeah, the dreadlocks.
And the weird beards. It's like, and then standing with them was the guru from India that sent me to for the reading. He's standing there with them. And his name was Gurdov, right? And I'm going, wow. So Gurdov's standing there, and he's sternly looking at me because, honestly, at this stage of the game, I've had like umpteen heart attacks, all kinds of medical stuff. I was not comfortable. I was in great pain, and frankly, I was ready to go. I mean, I've been on the other side. I know it's good. I was ready to go. And I had a wife and grandchildren and children, and I was still ready to go. And so the guru's kind of picking up on this, and he looks at me and he goes, don't give up heart. You can skip a few beats, but don't give up heart. And I'm going, what an odd thing to say, right? But and then, remember when I had that first near-death experience, where that kind of lighted cloud was the movie screen, right? Yeah, there it is again. And now there's this beautiful, soft, young, angelic voice, women's voice, female voice, speaking to me, saying, I don't see her, but I feel the love. I know she's there. And the voice is just within me and outside of me and everywhere. It's all within me and all around me. And she goes, Bill, you've done enough this lifetime. You've helped a lot of people. You've carried out your dharma. Your purpose is served. You come with me. Just give it the heart. Just let it go. And I promise you peace, bliss, love, comfort, no more pain. Come. Rest. Enjoy it on the other side, right? You're welcome to come. We want you, right? And I'm going, oh, that's beautiful. Yeah, sounds great, right? And then Gordon, remember him, he's standing there and he's going, Bill, don't give up heart. And I go, whoa. She's promised me love, peace. What's your offer? What are you going to do for me? He says, I promise you more pain and suffering than you've ever had. I go, what kind of sales pitch is that, right? I'm having this argument with him. Okay, let's let it hang there. I'll let you get to the bottom of your hour. We'll come back and find out why he's offering me more pain and more suffering, and why I got to make a choice.
Oh, that is just a great cliffhanger right there, boy. I tell you what, yeah, this is fascinating stuff, and we're going to, as soon as I can get there we go. We're going to be right back, folks. It's Spaced Out Sunday after this.
Need that weekend supernatural fix? Look no further than Spaced Out Saturday right here at spacedoutradio.com. I'm Stacey Edwards.
And I'm John Edwards. Each Saturday night, Stacey and I are going to bring you the best in paranormal, cryptids, UFOs, you name it, and we're going there.
It's all about the experience and to share the knowledge with all of you.
So tune us in every Saturday night on Spaced Out Saturdays, starting at 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com.
I'm feeling a little spicy tonight. What to do?
Why not get Bumblefuck?
4 million Scoville units of pure hard rock. Bumblefoot hot sauces come in 3 flavors. The burning Bumble. Tone it down a bit with Bumblicious and throw the sauce on everything.
Spice it up. Bumble me, baby. Bumblefoot hot sauce. Get it today at Kajans.com.
Are you looking for great advertising value for your company? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. We have a multitude of places to get your name out there, including commercial ads during the show, special promotions, and banners on our website. Our audience is proven to support the companies that support our show. We can make your budget work for you. So for more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
Hey everybody, the SOR Space Travelers is open. For just $5 a month, you can hang out with Dave and our crew privately in our members-only section. With your signing, you'll receive newsletters on what's going on with Spaced Out Radio. You'll have direct contact with the host during the show in our chat, live streaming videos, and a great forum for your posts and more. Become a space traveler now at spacedoutradio.com.
You wanted new SOR gear, and now you can have it. The SOR Vault is fully stocked with t-shirts, hats, hoodies, mugs, and everything in between, with great logos for you to choose from. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com, click on the SOR Vault, and go shopping. Pricing is quite affordable, and you can look good representing your favorite show. So go to our website and pick up your new SOR wear at the SOR Vault today.
Are you addicted to the woo? Good. Me too. This is Dave Scott, and you can woo it up with me every Monday through Friday, starting at 9:06 Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, for 3 hours of great entertainment in the subjects you love. UFOs, ghosts, cryptids, intuition. Yes, we hit it all 5 days a week. Look for us at spacedoutradio.com, where together, my friends, we own the night.
At spacedoutradio.com, we are keeping you up to date on all the news with the SOR Newswire. Captain Shirk leads the team that is bringing you the news of the day and exclusive stories on everything paranormal and supernatural. It's free to read, it's updated daily, and it's right there for you. The SOR Newswire is a one-stop shop for the news of the day. Check it out at spacedoutradio.com today.
Hello everyone, this is Ryan Stacy from the Experiencer Support Association, otherwise known as TESA. We're glad to team up with Spaced Out Radio to help investigate your experiences on the SOR Sightlines Report. Together, we'll investigate the strange sightings and occurrences you've had. We're looking for answers just like you. So fill out a Sightlines report on the Spaced Out Radio website, and let's figure out what's going on together.
Hey Spaced Out Radio fans, it's John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. Our goal is to make the life of veterans, first responders, and those with rare medical conditions 10% happier. We do this by donating one grant item, ranging from vans to therapy programs to prosthetic limbs, to those who need it most. To contribute to Spaced Out Radio's official charity, head over to chivecharities.org and become a donor today.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio, and while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
And we are back with the Reverend Bill McDonald, and look at that. Oh, boy, I like that hat there, Bill. That's right up my alley. I love that fedora you're wearing right now.
That's also my signature. I usually wear one. I got all kinds of them.
Yeah, I noticed that's it fits you perfectly there with the beautiful white beard and the black fedora, and You have a knack of leaving us on these cliffs every time we go to break here. And wow, you got to take us back to where you left us off before we went to our final break. Go ahead.
Okay, so there I was having this, you can't call it an out-of-body experience. It's a second body experience. I don't know what the phenomenon is called. We have two bodies, but it's like I got two bodies. One's back getting operated on and being held alive on a machine, and the other one, this physical body, is there in India. I'm on the hilltops. So the guru was trying to convince me that I shouldn't give in, give up heart, and leave. That I need to stick around because he's offering me more pain and more suffering. It's like, I'm going, that's not how you sell somebody on wanting to keep them here, right? And he basically says, you have to have more pain, and you have to learn to deal with your pain and all these problems, because in the past you've always been blessed. I mean, and that's truth. I mean, I could get my cavity filled. They go down to they drill down the nerve. No shot. Just do it, man. Boom. You know, the dentist is doing that face that you make like when you play an electric guitar to high notes, you know, that looking. Anyway, so pain wasn't a big deal. But now he's telling me that he's going to bring me back and I'm going to feel pain worse than I've ever had in my life. And then I'll have to learn how to deal with it. So that's how I can help veterans. You know, it's what I've done. You know, veterans that have some real bad injuries, you know, from the war. You can't just tell them bliss out, meditate. I mean, they need some real good advice. So anyway, so that's his whole ploy, and I'm going, nah, ain't good enough. And then, all of a sudden, remember those clouds, the light? All of a sudden, there's this movie sequence of faces. Young faces, old faces, sick faces, happy faces, sad, just all kinds of people that are in my life and going to be in my life that I haven't met yet. And he's explaining to me that if I choose to leave, that I'm okay. I don't have any problems. But these people are going to miss a gift that you could give them. Be it a smile, a word of advice, a story, inspiration, help on some issues in their life. But by you leaving, these people will lack the help that they could have got from you. And I'm going, yeah, that's still not enough. And the fact that I'm married and get children, grandchildren, still not enough. I'm going, no, you know. And so I'm debating this. All of a sudden, my body that's in India, I can feel the paddles. It's like, boom, I feel hands in my chest and everything. I feel stuff going, and all of a sudden, boom. And next thing I know, I am conscious on a table. And I'm conscious of them trying to close up my chest. So they've used a paddle and restarted my heart. And I'm off the heart lung machine. But now I'm awake. And what I'm trying to tell them, but I got a respirator down my throat, I can't talk. And I don't know if this is my imagination or not. I don't know to this day. I don't know if they put, is it possible they could have had tape over my eyes, keep my eyes shut? But I couldn't open my eyes. It felt like they were taped shut, and I don't know if they were or not. So if somebody's listening to this, you're a doctor, you could tell me. They either were like they were taped down. I couldn't open it. But there I was, and I was fully conscious. And they're wiring up my chest, and they're wiring up and stitching and stapling and all that stuff, and I'm feeling everything.
Whoa.
The anesthesia's wore off.
Whoa.
I hear the doctors talking, saying, well, don't give me any more. I mean, we're done here. We just got to close up, right? And I'm going in my mind going, hey, guys. Hey, guys. And I can't even yell. It's like, whoa. So this promise of more pain was instantaneous results. There's more pain, right? So over the next 10 days, because normally you have a quadruple bypass surgery, 3 or 4 days in the hospital, they kick you out. It's very, there's not much compassion anymore. It's like, you're done, you're out, right? Normal stay is 4 days. That's a big deal. Well, I've been there 4 days, and then I'm there 10 days. And in 10 days, I've already had 5 blood transfusions. And I keep filling up with fluids. I got a congestive heart failure, it keeps filling up with fluids and everything. I'm not doing good. And every time I would close my eyes and take a nap or fall asleep, I was instantaneously back on that hilltop. I didn't have to hike up the hill anymore. I was back with the group on the hilltop, right? And I was going through that whole conversation again with the guru, going, don't give up heart. You can skip a few beats, but don't give up heart. I kept hearing that every day, many times a day. And the whole thing about all these people, and I kept seeing these people over and over again, but I still wanted to give up. And it was about 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, and they were taking me down for an emergency procedure. And they put me on a gurney, and the phone at the bed rings, which is unusual. They don't usually let you ring a patient at that hour, right? But it rang, so. And I insisted on answering. They said, no, you got it. No, I got to answer. So I answered the phone, and I heard this voice. This is Gordoff. Like I had to narrow down how many Gordoffs I know, right? And then the first thing he says is, don't give up heart. You can skip a few beats, but don't give up a heart. And that's what I've been hearing every few hours for 10 days, right? Don't give up heart. You can skip a few beats. Like, oh, jeez. I said, it's real. I mean, they got to really tell me that, right? And then he says, I'm at the ashram. I just sent 100 people up there to meditate and pray for you. because I told him I was going to heal you. Don't embarrass me. So, see, it wasn't enough to tell me I'd help these people. It wasn't enough that I had family. But he told me, basically the essence was, dying, if you embarrass your guru by dying, that's not a good thing, right? So I go, oh, good God, I can't die now. I mean, it was like, I can't die. My wife came next day. I go, I'm out of the hospital. I'm going to be out here in 36 hours. She goes, what? You did nothing. So I asked the doctor, what do I got to do to get out of here? And he gave me a list of things. You got to be able to poop. You got to be able to walk. You got to be able to do this. You got to be able to do that. I go, great. So I did it all. But my last day in the hospital, last full day, remember the prediction about getting water and oil and somebody blessing you on your forehead? I'm laying in my bed, propped up, and there's like this energy field over the bed. It's like somebody took a crystal bowl, turned it upside down, and it was energy just from the end of the bed to the top of the bed and all around it. And I couldn't really see anything outside of it, but at the bottom of my bed, at the foot of my bed, was the avatar, Babaji. No shirt on, long black hair, and of course it's my vision, it's my delusions, I guess. This Babaji's got a pair of Levi's on, he's got pants, but he's barefoot. He's pouring oil, he's pouring water in my head, and he's chanting in some language I have no clue what it was. But it was so beautiful, and I thought to myself, you know, if I'm delusional, then this is a good delusion, right? Enjoy it. I get home alone a day or so, and my daughter comes over, and she says that this old neighbor we used to have, anyway, this guy's, he's in his 40s, David. She says, well, David went to visit you on that day, right? And I go, no, he didn't. She says, oh, yeah, he said he was there. I said, no, I didn't see him. He didn't come in to visit me. She says, no, he was there, but when he walked into the hospital room and he saw you having water and oil or something poured on top of your head by some crazy young Indian guy with long black hair, no shirt on and no shoes, and he was chuckling and I didn't want to embarrass me, so he left and he laughed. So there's a guy that came in and saw exactly what happened. And had he not said anything, I would have never known. I just would have assumed it was a delusion. So you never know about these things.
Wow.
Of course, I had this beautiful operation, and then what happens is, as soon as I got home, I was in great pain. It wasn't healing. And a couple weeks later, I go back in the hospital. That one of the, they did a bypass, right? Well, the artery they put in there was blocked. So only in a few weeks it's blocked. So they got to put a stent in. I'm going, why'd I have open heart surgery if it gets blocked in a couple of weeks? That's crazy, right?
Wow.
So I got an Indian doctor, and I'm in a Catholic hospital. There's nun nurses and stuff. And so I'm in there, and the guy operates on me. When he's operating on me, he's doing a stent. So with a stent, it's not a big deal. They basically cut a hole in your groin, and they go up that way, and they do everything. And you're awake. You can watch it if you want. All of a sudden, I'm in this top of the ceiling. I'm looking down at me, and me is looking up at me. And then when I realize that I'm looking at me, then the me on the table is looking up at the me at the ceiling. And wherever I shifted my consciousness to, that's the view I got. But both me on the table and me in the ceiling were animated, alive. You know, the me at the ceiling was an astral body of some kind, obviously. But it was the consciousness changing from whichever angle I looked. And I watched the whole procedure and everything else. And then when it was done, the doctor was talking to me, and I told him about it. And he goes, well, I guess Lord Shiva was with you. He was a Hindu.
Oh, my word.
He was with you. And he says, does this happen often? He goes, in here? Yeah. And he walked out. I said, that's cool. You know, really kind of cool, right? So that was kind of like the long and the short of it. But that was my 3 near-death experiences. And that was my naughty reading. But everything kind of, if you read my books, I'm going to plug my books, by the way.
I think you should.
Warrior, Spiritual Odyssey is my autobiography. That takes from birth, my experiences with the alien abductions, with some ghosts, with my first near-death experiences, with the JFK assassination, with all the weird, phenomenal things that happened in Vietnam. This thing takes you all the way through to Machu Picchu, where I have a heart attack. Actually, I've had heart attacks in Vietnam, Machu Picchu, Bolivia, Peru, China, India. I mean, you name it. I've had heart attacks everywhere. Hey, why not, right? So, anyway, that book goes on, but it ends at Machu Picchu. Because in Machu Picchu, I was having a heart attack, and I didn't know it was, maybe I'm going to die or something, you know? So I wrote that last chapter saying, well, you know, it's been good, and if I don't get any more, this is great. And then I go another 10 years of my life, and I write Alchemy of a Warrior's Heart, which takes you on 4 spiritual journeys to India, takes you on a spiritual adventure where I meet great holy people, go to mountain caves, climb in the Himalayas, handle there's more cobra stories I got to tell you. I mean, just all kinds of neat things, disappearing gurus on the road. I can tell you that story a little bit because that's pretty short. We don't have that much time. But both those books are available on Amazon. And then if they want to go to my YouTube channel and they want to see me talk about a lot of these individual stories, I got 100 and some videos on there. Plus there's hundreds of other videos on me on YouTube. But if they go to Rev Bill McDonald, R-E-V period Bill McDonald, they just type that in and Google for YouTube, they'll find all kinds of interviews and videos I've done. And then go to my website, www, and then all one word, Rev, no period, Bill McDonald, all run together, .com. So that's how they get a hold of me. I'm out there, I'm working with people. I normally try to answer anybody's messages that they send me, email. If somebody wants to contact me, they can get my address off my Facebook page, my YouTube page. I'm on Facebook too, by the way. So Facebook, Bill McDonald on Facebook. So they can find me out there. And it's like a naughty reading. If you're supposed to find me, you'll find me. I try to be kind and answer all I can, but it's got to a point now where I literally get hundreds of requests a day for different things. So I use my intuition and figured I need to answer this, so I need to answer that. And I start about 3, 4 in the morning, and I go till late at night till I turn off my phone, I turn off the TV, I turn off my computer, and I take a break. I have to. Otherwise, it's people from India contact me, people from Australia, China, all over the place. They don't know. They don't think about what time it is in California. You know, it's like, come on, guys. I used to have my cell phone by my bed. I don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
I leave it in another room because it rings. But once in a while, I'll wake up at 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and I'll come straight to the computer, open it up, and look at my last 1 or 2 emails, and there's somebody that just sent one that's needing my attention, and then, for example, there was a young lady, and her mother got a copy of my book and read it, and this young lady was drinking and was practically an alcoholic. That's my opinion. I was sensing that. She sent a message saying she was sitting at her kitchen table in Sacramento, and she just spilled a glass of wine and wrecked the book that her mother bought that I signed for her, and she wanted to know if I could, sell her replacement and sign it. And she sends that, and then she says, "Can I ask you one question?" The emails goes. She goes, "Do you believe God answers prayers?" So I looked at the time she sent it, and I sat down, and I sent the crazy message. If you read it, you go, "What?" And I said, "Yeah, yes, you get the book." But then I said, in response to your question, yes, God answers all prayers, but not always in the way you think. Sometimes the answer to the prayer could be from a dialogue in a movie. And I said that. When I said that to her, she was watching a video of the movie Almighty Bruce, where God talks to him and answers his prayer, in all these different ways.
Yeah.
So she got that the next morning. She goes, I read that because she pulled it up. She was right as I was watching that movie where he's talking to God and God's answering his prayer. He says, your timing was perfect. She says, I saw the time you said it, and I know the time I was watching it. It's exactly what I needed to hear. So, and she got whatever question she had was answered in the movie. So I didn't cry. But then she says, a couple days later, you were in my room on whatever night it was, this night. You were here. You gave me great advice, and I thank you. And what's strange about that is she's not the only person that does that to me. I've had dozens, hundreds of people. You were in my home. You saved me from a suicide. You helped me with my depression. You healed me physically. I get that every month. Somebody claims I healed him. Of course, people claim Elvis Presley's ghost heals him. So a lot of that is your belief system. It's the greatest placebo effect in the world, but it's also, maybe there's something else there. I don't know. It happens all the time. People watch my YouTube videos and they come back and say, you solved my problems. You stopped me from a suicide. You've healed me. Well, I don't know these things to be facts. I don't know where they're coming from. And when people give that to me, I always cut them off. I don't need it. I have a hard enough time with my own ego as it is. I don't need any more layers. All I know is I tell people, oh, you're my guru, you're my teacher. I said, no, I'm an old, fat, bearded Irishman that likes to talk. Now, if that helps you, great. If my stories inspire you, great. But I'm not looking for people to, I don't want that responsibility, and I don't want that burden. Because when you start thinking that you're always the teacher, and you're here to save the world, the ego just grows, number one. And number two, you're not always the teacher. You're always a student, and you learn from everybody. And everybody is a teacher. Even if they're teaching from their own experiences the wrong way to do something. Like you got a bad parent. Well, then you learn. I don't want to be an alcoholic, right? I don't want to be mean and cruel. So that's kind of my story of my life. And it kind of summarizes this thing here. To me, it's if they watch my videos, they read my books, they're going to find out that the one thing I value is love and service. People ask, what's my purpose? Why am I here? I go, look in the mirror. That guy or that woman that you're looking at, she's here to love, not to be loved. She's here to help, not to be helped. She's here to understand, right? Not to be understood. We're here to give, not to get. So when your life comes to the end, when this thing finally pulls down, it's not important who loved you because you're a celebrity or you're famous or something, or you help everybody with money. People will love you. But you know and I know that if you take a child that's doing drugs and a parent says, don't do the drugs, and because you love them, and the child doesn't want to talk to you ever again because they're doing drugs, they don't want to feel guilty. You love them. That's the most important thing. Not if they love you back. Anybody can love anybody that loves them back. But to love your enemies most especially. So when you leave, who did you love? That's the real question.
Oh my. Oh, that is so profound. And the whole idea of your guru, you are fulfilling after this final near-death experience, you are still to this day fulfilling that admonition that there are other people that need your help. That is just great.
Now, whether that entails making it to next year or not, we'll all find out together. And I guess if I live next year, I'm not going to complain. I go, that's a good one not to happen. I like that. But if it happens, I'm not going to complain because that's all right too.
Oh, great attitude to have. Well, the Reverend Bill McDonald, this has been just a pleasure and a real blessing to me and the audience. Just to listen to the sage wisdom that you've been able to impart in this short 2.5 hour program that just flew by. We're going to have you back again for sure. And I wish you so much good, whatever you're going to call it for the next year or so. I can't imagine the more and more people that you will be helping down the road. So thank you again.
That's my prayer.
All righty. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be back again, of course, next Sunday on Spaced Out Radio. If you'll stay with us just a few more moments here, we're going to get out of here right now. There once was a man who had some land in eastern Washington. And on his land, this man, he had a deep, dark hole upon. People came from miles around to throw their trash down in to see how deep the hole was and listen for its end. Then one day, that fateful day, they forced Mel off his land. They paid him off and sent him off down under with a plan. They hid Mel's hole and covered it up so ne'er it could be found, so no one would ever know what's deep down in Mel's ground. Yippee-yi-yay, yippee-yi-oh. There's no bottom to Well, I want to remind everyone that Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. You can find out more information on his music at bumblefoot.com. A special thanks to everyone listening in at home, in their cars, and at work, and in the chat rooms tonight, wherever you are around the world. Remember, this show is currently copyrighted by Spaced Out Radio. SOR Media Ventures. Thanks for sharing your evening with us tonight, folks, because together, Ghost Riders. Good night, everyone. We'll see you next Sunday on Spaced Out Sunday. Alrighty. Thanks for joining me, folks. That was a special show.